recording all this time and you had no
Oh,
idea.
that wouldn't shock me.
It's a M. Night Shyamalan style plot twist. I mean, we already did say hello. Maybe, I mean, context can be rewritten. Mwahaha.
Very true.
But in all seriousness, hello, ladies and gentlemen. How do you do?
Hello.
We
That was a
have.
very enthusiastic hello. I am a bit hyperactive today. I've had no sleep. I'm running on fumes.
That is
How are
how
you
it usually
guys?
works.
Yeah.
But yeah, first official podcast episode
In
in
a
the new
while, oh yeah.
channel.
Oh yeah.
Because this
Thanks
is
for
gonna be the
trying
first
it.
one. Yeah. So that's gonna be interesting.
My God, we've been going long enough for you to have a different channel now. Mental.
I know, like what turned up as like, oh, do you know what? Let's do this every so often. And now we've got this is episode 40?
Bloody hell. We've been doing this a
Yeah.
while. It doesn't even feel like it though. It's weird.
I know it only feels like 10, maybe 12. It's weird.
Very weird.
But yeah, today we're going to be talking about a show called Loki. Perhaps you remember it. At this point, it may have come out like 3 months ago.
Yeah. It, it may be fairly recent in your memories.
I doubt it. I barely remember it.
I
Just-
know I can't remember the first 4 episodes. I can
it's
just about remember episode 5 and 6.
it's all right. Because I will be playing the episodes in a copyrighted way on the
That's
podcast
fine.
as well. So
Yeah.
we'll.
I've got it up on Disney Plus as well, so like refresh my memory. I'll
All right.
just have it muted though, so you can't hear it.
That's cool. I doubt we're gonna be able to go through the entire show today. So
Um,
it's probably
I
gonna
mean, we
be the
can
biggest
try.
issues on every episode, rather than every nitpick like the Snyder
Yeah,
arc.
yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
Because if not,
Not
who
do
knows how
nitpick.
long we'll be here.
Very true. Excuse me.
Right.
Let's do
So
it.
I was thinking, in light of maybe doing something a little bit more challenging.
Ooh. Is it find good things to say about it?
How
Look
did
how
you
good.
know?
Look how well that went with Star Wars.
Oh god, that was nearly a year ago at this point.
I know. And damn it, we tried. We tried to say nice things about that movie, but it was that series of movies even, and it was hard.
Yeah,
But damn it, we will try.
we will try to find good things. But
I mean, there were a
okay.
few things I liked, like just genuinely liked, but also some of them it was like, oh, I wish there was more of that because I liked
Mm.
that, and then I just didn't get more of the thing I liked,
Yeah,
which made me not
absolutely.
like it.
What might be 2 or 3 of your top examples for things you liked?
Okay. First of all, the opening soundtrack, I like it. It seems
True.
very cool and interesting, and I don't know, I just vibe to it. Like I would like watch the intro every episode because I was just like, I'm vibing with this. This is cool.
Yeah, I
But
will
that's
agree. The
one thing I
soundtrack
like.
and the opening is very well put together.
Yep. It feels very Loki as well.
Yeah, I can
I
agree with
like
that.
the opening title card. That looks cool. Can you see how I'm drawing this out?
I'm
uh,
sensing a pattern here.
yeah. I
Um,
genuinely I liked kind of how Loki was like so focused on glorious purpose in the first episode because it kind of called back to this is the same Loki from like 2012.
Avengers, yeah.
Yeah, I thought it's very good that you've still got that kind of character, and also it was a nice throwback because it was like obviously the Loki we had in Infinity War was vastly different, so
Hmm.
it was like it was kind of a nice callback, I thought. And also, I did enjoy like the bit where he's like stood on the stone and he's like bow to me, and like there's literally two people there that can't understand him. It's just rather funny.
Oh, it. I get the joke they're trying to go for,
but I
but
think it was, yeah.
it's not good. uh, yeah, because like, and they contradict themselves in this very series because later
Yeah.
on they're in Pompeii and he's speaking Italian, and I'm like, motherfucker, how do you not know
Yeah.
Mongolian?
I was
Like,
like, what are you doing? Yeah. Some of the jokes were just like, let's make Loki look like a dum dum, and it's like, no, like in Ragnarok, I think that's my favorite like version of him because he's just so like he's mischievous. He's not very mischievous in this. He's more like I'm doing dumb things, haha, look at me kind of thing.
absolutely. Like it's really cool the arc we got with Loki all the way up to Infinity War because he started out as the one who didn't know his place. Then he went
Mhm.
to Vengeful Loki, then Revenge Loki, and then the Loki who accepts who he is. And
Yeah.
then he died in that moment, and he's like, "Oh, it's a complete arc, wonderful.
Yeah.
The book is closed." And now we've
Yeah.
just kind of used the
Now we're
crowbar
just
and forced the
restart.
book open. And it's like,
It,
oh,
it it definitely feels like it's a comic book thing that would have happened to keep Loki in the story. So
yes, very comic bookish.
it's very comic book, like, look, this character's alive again, kind of thing. I was watching. It's a YouTube channel called Cinema Therapy, and they did one about Loki and whether or not like he has narcissism and whether it's treatable. And they were basically literally like, it was like a proper therapist and a filmmaker, and they sit there and discuss. And the therapist was like, "This is what I would suggest for Loki, and like this is how like I would be able to help him with his narcissism." And it was really interesting to hear
Hmm.
how someone would tackle a fictional character's mental illness or issues.
Yeah, true.
So
It's
I'll send you a link if you want to
yeah,
watch it.
please do. I wouldn't mind watching something interesting.
Yeah.
But as far as positives go, opening theme, soundtrack, and the title cards.
Yeah.
Maybe do you have any more you'd like to add?
Honestly, I genuinely liked the mystery around the variant. Like, I knew the variant was going to be female Loki, but I liked the build up to how menacing they were, and we didn't actually see their face for like a whole 2 episodes, I want to say.
I want to say 2 episodes. Yeah.
Yeah, and like the scene where she's like literally killing all of the like TVA people, I'm like, oh my god, this Loki's like does not give a shit, will murder people. Like, oh my god, I'm so interested to see what they're like.
Wait, are you talking about the variant or 2012 Loki? Because I'm confused.
Variant Loki, because obviously, like in the tent, I think there's a tent scene, and she basically kills a bunch of TVA guys and leaves one alive.
Yeah, I
And I was like, this Loki is ruthless, bloody hell. And I was like really interested to see what they were like.
yeah, I was
The
just
setup of the
riffing.
character was interesting for me.
Yeah, I think everyone kind of knew. Oh, it's female Loki
Yeah, I knew
because
who it was, but I was
it's
like
the
kind of
pattern.
interested to, yeah. I was kind of interested to see how female Loki would act though and behave because obviously I didn't know anything about like her as a character. I just knew that she was a female version. That was it. So it had me intrigued. That's what I thought was good. I thought like the introduction to her before obviously we got to know her a bit more was interesting.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So I'm on the same boat as you. I like the soundtrack. Um, I like the title card, and you know what? I like the color scheme of
Color
Leventis.
scheme, yeah.
The purple planet that was about to blow up. I
Oh
like the color
yeah, it's
scheme.
very purpley. I did like
Yeah,
it.
and I was like, ah, cool. And two characters I liked: the Richard E. Grant Loki, um,
He was so good, and
Elder
Alligator
Loki,
Loki.
yeah, and the Alligator Loki. Yes.
Alligator Loki is amazing.
You know what? I'm not even
I love
joking.
him.
Those two characters are the best written characters in the entire show. Like Richard E. Grant Loki had an actual arc. He did something. He behaved like Loki, and he was powerful. I was like, cool. And Alligator Loki didn't say a thing, which already makes him better than 90% of the characters in this show.
Yeah. Oh, I liked Sylvie's costume. I thought
Cool.
it was cool
Fair
as
enough.
well. And
Okay.
I'll get to the annoyed part about costumes later.
That's fine. That's fine. But okay, I don't think I'm being hyperbolic here. I don't think I've ever seen a franchise be annihilated in 10 minutes before until I saw Loki. The first 10 minutes destroys the entire Marvel universe, and I'm like, that's impressive.
See,
And I'm
like, I kind of get what you're saying, but I'm also like, please explain, because I'm not like 100%
I'm glad you asked.
sure. No, because
um,
like I'm sure there's a good reason, but like when I was watching it, I didn't get that feeling. Like I wasn't majorly impressed, but I didn't get the feeling it ruined the entire Marvel series. But then this is possibly just because I was just not remembering a lot of stuff.
no, it's fine. So the one of the two main reasons, because the second reason comes at the very end with the reveal of um, you know, a black dude in the church, or the hunter's dream,
Oh,
whatever it
oh,
is
so
I
like
was.
Kang,
Yeah,
yeah,
allegedly can, because we never actually get to hear his name. Oh my
yeah,
god! But so that's the second instance in Destroys the Universe. But the first instance comes in the first 10 minutes of episode one, and it
yeah.
has strictly to do with the way the time cops operate.
Okay.
So,
So it's
um,
time. I figured it would be time related, but like
yeah,
again, I just can't remember the episode, so that's why I'm saying like in the first 10 minutes,
yeah,
what
that's fine
breaks it for you?
because in that segment where Loki is just ranting and going through the queue and
Oh
taking
yeah,
the
I'm on that
ticket,
bit now.
um, there's that Fallout style infomercial showing how time
Oh
works.
yeah, yeah, that was
So,
broken. Remembering it now.
so the way they explained it is that there is one sacred timeline where everything goes
Oh
accordingly,
yeah,
and it's all written by three space lizards. I'm like, what?
sure.
And then the more I thought about it, the more I'm like, okay, so if you're telling me that all of time is written and the time cops have been annihilating entire universes that didn't adhere to, well, the script, the three space lizards, well, at this point, three
Yeah.
space lizards have been writing. And it's like, okay, so you're telling me that and it goes so minute into detail as well because it's like, oh, you can just be late for work and your entire reality would be wiped out of existence. And it's like, what? So you're telling me that me choosing to have 2 teaspoons of sugar instead of one
It's
can
written.
erase a universe.
Or if you just choose not to go a specific route to work or something.
Exactly. So if they're being that pedantic about how particular they are about erasing universes are, then let's go back to the history of the MCU. Amy, you've watched the MCU a lot more recently than I have, but could
Yes,
you tell
I
me
have.
could you tell me why Iron Man chose to go to Afghanistan when he saw the news article when he's fixing the repulsor on his arm?
Um, I literally can't remember.
Okay, so you know that scene, he just spoke to Obadiah. He said, oh, we've been double
Yeah.
dealing. And then he's down in his
Okay.
basement, he's tweaking with his arm, and he's seeing a news report about a village being taken over by terrorists. So it's the
Oh yeah.
first time he goes over to save them. Could you
Oh
try and
yeah.
tell
So
me
basically,
why?
I mean, he saw them in trouble, so he went to save them. I assume.
Yeah.
So that
Or,
time cops are trying to say we deliberately put that broadcast there so that he'd go.
no, well, kind of. But more specifically, if he did anything else, he would have been melted.
True.
So now, thinking about
He
that
would have been
moment,
like pruned.
fucking hell. So
That
now,
just makes it sound like a gardening thing. Like I'm just going to
I
prune the
know, I was
branch off.
thinking,
Ha ha
yeah,
ha ha. I
I
see what
thought
you
they
did
said
there.
prawns the first time round. I was like,
Prawns.
fucking what?
They got prawned.
They got prawn. I'm like, what? Like salt and pepper? Like, I'm well confused.
Yeah.
But
Oh, I just thought of another thing I really liked. I kind of really liked Mobius. I wanted more of him in this.
I liked how charismatic Owen Wilson is. he is
Yeah, I think that's partly why.
he is so lovable. Um, but yeah, that's what. If you go through the history of the MCU now, Tony Stark didn't go to save that village in Afghanistan because
Did
he
it?
felt guilty for the weaponry his company had been double dealing and wanted to do right. No, he did it because if he did not, he would have been melted.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, maybe they could do something where, like, with all this knowledge, like, it starts taking a toll on Loki as if kind of like, well, literally nothing matters because someone else decided it all for me, kind of thing. But you're right, it still kind of ruins the rest of the arcs and stuff that we've just witnessed.
exactly.
Because this is basically saying, yeah, that was all planned.
Yeah,
And it's
because
like, that's very meta of you, Marvel.
yeah, it literally takes the characters' in world agency away from their control. Let's go to Thor. He didn't confront the destroyer in New Mexico because, he started to value the meaning of life, started to have a change of heart, value life altogether, and want to rekindle his brotherhood with Loki. No, he did it because if he didn't, he would have been melted. Captain America didn't jump on top of a grenade in basic training because he wanted to, save people or,
He did it because he had to. He did it
yeah,
because it was written, it was designed to happen like that.
exactly.
Ugh.
Now, if you want to be meta
Yeah.
about it, you can say, oh, well, all stories are determined by the writer. Okay, my counter to that is the point of a world within a narrative is to give the illusion of free will to the characters because that's what makes them relatable. If you're going to be telling me, oh, it was all predetermined and they had no control whatsoever in this narrative, their arcs don't matter anymore.
Yeah. I saw a meme and it was like Thanos saying like I'm inevitable and then it just had Kang underneath going, nah though.
Nah. just nah.
And I was like, oh, that's very accurate.
Oh. And you know what? Kang is existing at the literal end of time. So thousands
In a
of years in the
castle.
future.
Yeah.
So it really does not matter what happens in the Eternals in a couple of months. It does not matter
Mm.
what happens in Shang-Chi in a couple of months. It doesn't matter what happens in Thor 4. It doesn't matter what happens in the next Captain America or Iron Man. It doesn't matter because it's all predetermined according to Kang up to a certain point.
I mean, he like if you want to go off like spoilers for the ending, but like,
Oh, it's fine.
if you're watching this podcast, I have
Well,
to imagine you know that was gonna happen. But yeah, at the end it's like, oh look, multiversal war, so like that will have an impact, I guess.
it's like I can't
Because
even
it's like now it's broken and like now people do have free will, but it's like you just basically saying everyone's been a slave to time cops the whole time.
Yeah. And you know what? I can't even comprehend how timeline wars work. Like, are you telling me this one Kang in a universe has conquered the entire universe and is invading another universe using all the people he conquered to take over another universe? And it's like,
Yeah.
what the fuck's going on?
I
It's
feel
like,
like someone in the writer's room was like reading a comic and they were like, how can we make the universe so fucking mentally mind bending and break everything like comics do? I know, let's like make it so that no one had a choice.
no one had a choice, and simultaneously we give them all the choices. It's like, what? Oh, but like this is precisely why DC Comics has like a reboot every 10 years because
Yeah.
they do multiverse crap and it fucking bends the timeline in two to the point where it
Yeah.
snaps.
I am not looking forward to Multiverse of Madness really because I feel like it's just going to be very convoluted and not make any sense.
God, yeah.
And I like Doctor Strange, so I'm excited to see him again, but I'm just gonna be like, that's probably the only thing I'm gonna like about the movie. I would like to be proven wrong, so we shall
I
see.
mean, with Marvel's track record, I'm not holding my breath, but I'm willing to be proven wrong.
Yeah, it's making me
Um,
sad because I really like Marvel. But you're making it really hard to like Marvel right now, Marvel. Please stop.
yeah, it's like I'm. This is why I think when we were doing the Attack on Titan reaction, no one's gonna know what I'm talking about. But
Mhm.
like that's why I said like at this point, Marvel is worse than DC in terms of writing because at least DC doesn't break the universe and its time mechanics, and
DC
it
haven't tried to do time travel just yet. I mean, they did a little bit with
they did a
Flash,
little bit,
but a
but
little bit, not like full on. Hi, by the way, our entire timeline is just one big mess of people don't really make any of these choices. They have no choice. Otherwise, Time Cop will come fix it.
exactly like DC has free will, ergo it is slightly better than Marvel at this point.
Yeah.
Like I'm not gonna lie, when we were doing the Snyder arc conversations, I was not expecting to be saying that at this point DC is better than Marvel.
No, I was really mad because like a bunch of DC like podcasts we've done, I was actively praising Marvel and going, "This is why Marvel did it
So
better,"
was
and
I.
then Marvel went ahead and went, "I know, let's fuck it up."
Oh, yeah, I think we were
I
cursing
feel
them.
like, yeah, I feel like we jinxed them by giving them praise, and they were like accepting the praise and being like, "I know, let's." I don't.
Yeah,
Again, it feels like somebody was like, "This seems like a good idea in theory," and then haven't realized that you literally just broke your universe
I
in
know,
10 minutes.
and it's
That's got to be a
mental.
record.
It is act. I'm impressed by its efficiency, but I'm sad by its outcome.
Hmm. Yeah.
So, like, I think this is probably gonna be one of the only times I will say, no, this is a 1 out of 10.
Jeez.
Like,
Yeah.
Wonder
Like
Woman
I think
84, 2, Black Widow 2,
this
but
is
this is
worse
a
than that.
1. Because
I
at
mean,
least
just in
those,
terms of breaking the universe, yeah.
yeah, literally, because at least those were isolated to their own films. And even
Yeah.
WandaVision was isolated to its own tisms. But this breaks everything. And I'm like, how?
Yeah. I'm interested to see how the hell um Doctor Strange is going to fix it. And then I had a thought: do we want him to fix it? Because apparently this is what free will looks like in Marvel.
And you know what? This
So
show.
that kind of actively makes you want Doctor Strange not to succeed in fixing the multiverse.
Oh my god, I didn't even think about that.
Good job, guys. Yeah, that's literally just occurred to me now.
Fucking hell.
What have you done?
It's like this show assassinates Loki twice. Once
Mm,
in the way he behaves over the course of the episodes, plural, and at the end when he thinks, "Nah, do you know what? Maybe we should rule the TVA and take away free will." I'm like, "Fucking hell, Loki, stop!" Oh, but
yeah.
we'll talk about Loki in a minute. But
Mm,
keeping to the time tisms, we've established why the show breaks reality in all the films that has come prior in the first 10 minutes. But I want to go to the very end to quote unquote Kang's reveal. And I'm
yeah.
like, that was such a slow episode.
Mm,
Like, I was, there were a few times I was looking at the clock going, it's nothing like, this is the finale of Loki.
yeah, I was
And
very underwhelmed. I feel like because they knew they had a second season coming, they didn't really try to go all out.
I, I, this is this is yet another symptom of why I wish Marvel ended with Endgame, waited a few years, and done a new story.
Yeah, I
Because
genuinely thought that's what they were gonna do, to be honest.
because now what you've got is a perpetual narrative. So it's not
Yeah,
a matter
it's
of
like they were
oh,
like, how can we carry it on? And I feel like
exactly.
that just it just now it's just any reason to keep. using characters. Loki's a really popular character. He's especially really popular with the LGBT community, and I feel like Marvel knew that, and I feel like that's why
Hmm.
they've gone, let's make a show about Loki because he's very popular with everyone.
Yes. It's like I think you hit you hit it on the nail there because like they're not focused on ending anymore. They're focused on perpetuating the characters for the next paycheck.
Yeah,
And because there is no end in sight, it's not even a matter of the narrative now. It's what can we set up for the narrative to come.
yeah,
Because if you watch Iron Man today, it's like okay, beginning, middle, end, boom, it can stand on its own. But you know what? It also branched off into this and that and that and that
hmm,
because we were creative.
yeah.
Now it's not a beginning, middle, end. It's okay, we're gonna
It's the
set it up
setup.
and we'll let who knows do it later on. Like the sequel trilogy of Star Wars.
Ooh,
But
Marvel. You've been very dangerously like Star Wars now, and that's not a good thing. Not the new Star Wars.
I mean it's all Disney, so you
Disney,
know.
you're ruining things. Please stop it.
God, yeah, it's mental. Um,
Ah.
but yeah.
Here's where Disney just cancel me now.
Oh my God, no.
Like
But
I literally Disney will just make me disappear, and you'll just be like, oh my god.
now but now they can't because we fit into diversity quotas according to
Oh wait,
them.
yeah, they'll have to leave us alone.
Exactly. I mean, they'll never pay us for anything, but they can't hurt
No,
us either because that would make them bigots.
true.
They're in a corner. We've pushed them. We can do it. Oh my God.
Mm.
But yeah, back to the final episode though. It's mental because that final episode is like 40 minutes long, including credits and all of that. So probably like 35 minutes excluding all of that. But of that 35 minutes, what actually happened?
Not a lot. Oh my god! I just had a thought. Like, there's a bit in the first episode where Loki's saying choice breeds shame, uncertainty, and regret. I'm like, did Loki write this show?
Like, whoever
Literally,
it,
did he be like, I know, I would take everyone's free will away?
yeah, it's like, it's not even that Loki wants to take away free will, it's he wants subservience. At least in 2012 Loki, you know? Like he wants to rule, he wants to conquer, he wants subservience from those he thinks that are lesser. And over here it's
Yeah,
like, oh no, he's just a scared little boy, just wanting to
yeah,
pretend and hurt people for attention. I'm like, fuck off. No.
yeah. No, he's a narcissist, and he genuinely thinks that he would be like good for people. He should be in control of people because you know, he can make
Yeah.
their lives better. That's what he thinks.
And you know what? Ragnarok, um, I may not be the biggest fan of the film, but what I did love, like, writing wise, I do like a lot of the character arcs in Ragnarok. And
Yeah,
Loki's was great because he started with being a ruler that was just not fit for Asgard, and he learned that and realized, no, I do like power. I'm just not a good ruler, so I'm happy to be Thor's right hand man.
yeah,
And it all worked. He completed his arc. um,
yeah.
yeah, but it's like by the time we finish the series, he's like, oh no, it's not ruling or subservience I want. No, I genuinely think that people should just not have free will. And I'm like, whoa, okay.
Whoa.
That's the second time Loki's been
That's
assassinated
kind
in
of
the
just
show.
that's kind of justifying him going, yes, free will, bad thing.
Yeah, and the way it all happened in the last episode, where you've got ad-libbing comedian playing Kang, and it's like, what am I? Okay, I'm going to. I want to ask you a question. Like, when you imagine the orchestrator of this universe, was that what you were expecting? A cheerful black guy hopping around, making jokes, modern, like tisms, trying to be
Um,
hip with the kids and stuff like that, and eating popcorn while two people fight in front of him. Was that what you
yeah,
were expecting?
that was not what I was expecting. I was expecting like this menacing figure to, be not like I was expecting them to maybe have a bit of charisma because bad guys that have charisma work.
Hmm.
But I feel like they tried really, really hard to get the charisma impact, and it didn't really come across as menacing. Like, there are some characters I can think of that are hilarious, but also terrifying. Like, I would not want to have to deal with them. And I'm trying to think off the top of my head of any characters like that.
Joker.
I know that, there you go, yeah. He's hilarious, and he is also fucking terrifying.
Yeah,
Like, you don't know what he's gonna do next, and that makes him quite frightening. And also, like,
absolutely.
he can flip between being a joke, like just telling a joke and whatnot, and then immediately just kill someone without any like even thought.
Yeah.
So yeah, so like I get what they were going for with charisma and stuff, and I was like, I do like the idea of a person who's kind of looks quite feeble and isn't really that doesn't look menacing, but it like because the Joker doesn't look menacing, does he? He
Hmm.
doesn't physically look like he could do anything to Batman, like in a fight. But yet he still manages to come across as terrifying. Like I feel like that's what they were trying to go for, but they just didn't do it right. You didn't do it right.
No. And okay, I'm gonna ask you another question. Do you think it was all scripted, or do you think there was a lot of ad-libbing going on set for the final episode?
I definitely think there was some ad. I feel like the director did the mistake of going, "You do what you want to do, free reign, go for it." Because like
You are
usually
correct.
when actors do that, right, they go ham. It's like
You
the
are.
default. It's still like the default setting for actors to do that. If you go, you do what you want, and they go, right, well, I'm a bad guy. I'm gonna go full on
You, my dear
cheesy ham.
Bandicoot, is spot on. Because the actor who played the Kang came out and said, as a classically trained clown, his words, um, he thought it really helped in his ad-libbing for the final episode. And here's me going, I had no idea that that was ad-libbing. Wow, it was
Yeah,
so organic. I would have never guessed.
yeah. That's just a big no. Like that's a student filmmaking mistake where you go to the actors, just do what you want because it's like no, you need to
You need to
like
have a lot
to
of
a
preparation, even if you are going to do that.
yeah, to an extent. Like if you want someone to ad lib, you still have to give them like the type of mood they're in, the
Hmm.
type of like emotion you want from them. Like you can't just go on ad lib because that actor literally probably won't know how to emote. Like they won't know what to do. They won't know how to pull a face. They don't know if there's a certain tone they need to use. You need to think about these things, guys.
Like, it's almost as if people think they can be Eddie Murphy.
Just off the cuff, and it's like no,
Yeah, Eddie Murphy puts an incredible amount of effort, and that's why he's so good at ad libbing. Like, Beverly Hills Cop is incredible,
yeah.
and there's a lot of ad lib
He
there.
has he has emotion in the ad libbing though. That's the thing. Like he knows the
It
emotion
matches the
he's going
scene,
for.
context,
Yeah,
everything.
same with Robin Williams when he would ad lib
Hmm.
things. Like
Oh
he
my
ad
god,
libbed
yeah.
the whole genie scenes in Aladdin. They literally just put him in a room and got him to ad lib. But I'm pretty sure they said we want this kind of emotion. We want this kind of emotion. They didn't just go do what you want.
Yeah,
I think to a
absolutely.
degree they had. It's like do what you want, but you have to have a specific tone about it.
So,
And
uh,
clown is not what you want for a person who's supposed to be menacing. Because, like, imagine the director just went to Joaquin Phoenix. Okay, just ad lib the Joker. You're a clown,
it's like, oh, okay.
and
I
he
mean,
just
it's
did what
Joaquin
you want.
Phoenix. He will probably pull it off still. But
Yeah,
it's like,
but I imagine Todd Phillips had to say to him, like, right in this scene, this is how he's
there must
feeling.
have been hundreds of conversations between them before that point.
Yeah, and also he's a method actor, so he would have gotten into the
Hmm,
headspace of this character, even if he was ad libbing. So there's still preparation going on there.
absolutely. Um,
Preparation is important.
yes, incredibly so. I was going to ask, I can't remember, but you've not seen Cowboy Bebop, have you?
I've seen some of it, like
Okay,
maybe 2 episodes.
gotcha. Well, there's one particular episode, there's like episode 6 or 7, I can't remember off the top of my head, it's been a few years, but
Mm.
Spike and Jet, all of them, they're about to go through a um, hyperdrive system, and the gate blows up, and everyone's like, "Whoa, what's going on?" And there's like massive panic all over the place. So a bounty gets issued. Hey, find the person bombing this, and we'll pay you. They're
Yeah.
like, right, job. So we got the introduction to the episode. But meanwhile, the kid with the red hair, she's playing a game of chess, and she's like, "Ooh, this is a really
Hmm.
good game of chess." And it's like, okay, so you don't think much of the chess game. But as the episode goes on, we find that like Spike and Jet, they find the dude that's doing it, and it's like a 95-year-old dude who's senile and playing chess on his own. And they're like, what? And it turns out that this guy was betrayed by his corporation, so he planted bombs for like 60 years in the future, so that when everyone has forgotten him, he'll come back, get his revenge, and then move off. But because he waited so long and doing nothing but playing chess with people, he'd become so senile to the point that he can't even remember why he's playing chess here anymore. He's
Oh
just
no.
doing it. And Jet and Spike were like, I mean, this guy doesn't even know this happened anymore. So they just kind of leave him to be as he already was, just living on his own. And it's like, because if they take him in, he's probably going to be executed. So better to let the guy live in ignorant bliss rather than take him out and probably condemn him to death. So like it's a shit choice. You either leave a guy in isolation or you condemn him to die. So they just thought better he live than he die. So they leave him alone. And the episode ends with the guy with the old man going, "Ah, that was a good game of chess," as he beats the red-headed dude in the ship. Now that's
Yeah.
what I was expecting. A dude so
Yeah.
old, so aged, so
Yeah.
withered that he doesn't even realize why he's writing the timeline. He's
That
just
would have
doing
been
it.
far more interesting than I know what I'm doing.
Because then what
I'm
could
a
the two Lokis
sassy.
do? It's like, well, he doesn't even register that we are here anymore.
Yeah.
Like that would have been a far more interesting thing to look at. And just watch Cowboy Bebop. It's much better.
Yeah. I feel like
um,
every time we talk about something bad, there's always like an anime where it's done something way more creative with its villain.
hmm, absolutely. Which is why I'm
So,
dreading the Netflix Cowboy Bebop.
oh yeah, it better not be as bad as Death Note. That's all I'm
Oh,
saying.
you know what? At this point, I'll take a Death Note over a Marvel film.
Yeah. See, like the writers should maybe just go and watch some anime and just see how they're written because
Like I saw a
just take
poll
take some notes.
I saw a poll from Japan saying, "Oh, what Hollywood studio, or rather, what anime would you want a Hollywood studio to make a film of today?" And like
Yeah.
64% just said none. Leave them alone. Just keep them
Yeah,
away,
just leave
please.
them alone. They work fine. It's like with the Disney remakes, just leave them alone. The
Yeah.
reason the cartoons are so beloved is because they're done well in the cartoons. Leave them like cartoons. Please stop doing live action.
Yeah.
It doesn't translate well. Like none of them
Rarely.
do.
But
So
yeah,
yeah,
like the reveal of allegedly Kang was so disappointing because it just ended
yeah.
up being an Eddie Murphy ripoff, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
And
It
then the
was
way,
generic look improvised person, insert
yeah,
improvisation here. And that's not even Kang's character. Like you should at least inject a bit of his character into this is supposed to be a variant of Kang, as in Kang the Conqueror. I don't
yeah.
know much about him, but I know he's supposed to be a lot more menacing than that.
Don't worry, not many people know Kang. It's fine. Like people who pretend they do are people who looked at Loki and thought, "Oh, who's Kang?" Wikipedia search. Genuinely, like
Yeah.
hardcore comic book fans know.
Like I would legit straight up say, like, I only recently got into comics, like as like 2015, I want to say. So I've not been
Mm,
reading them that long, and also I'm really selective with which ones I read, so I don't
yeah.
know everything.
Like I've been into comics for like nearly 10 years, and I've been watching like Marvel cartoons since like 15, 16 years, and even I had no idea who the fuck Kang was.
Yeah, it's the same with Taskmaster. I was like, "Who the fuck are you? You seem cool, but I don't know who you are." So like, I'll end up watching the stuff, and then I'll go back and look at the comics they're in. But like, I'll still be like, I have no knowledge of this character. I'll just straight up say it now.
Yeah.
But I will say that doesn't make me any less of a fan of comic books or Marvel properties. It just means there are some things I don't know about.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
I mean, we all got to start somewhere, right?
Yep.
And it's like, also in that sixth episode, I think Sylvie's character, like, I don't like female Loki, but I think her character was assassinated in episode 6 too.
Mm.
Um, because all that time is like, oh, I want to find them, I want to find them, I want to kill them, I want to find them. It's like, okay, cool. We finally arrive at the hunter's dream from Bloodborne, and she's standing outside the door just going, you know what? I'm kind of nervous. And I'm like, this isn't a fucking
What?
prom date, bro. Just go in and kill the fucker.
Yeah, it's like you've been wanting to kill these people for how long? You've been hiding in apocalypses. You've witnessed all that horrible death and destruction because of this person, and you made it very clear that you want to kick their ass, kill
And you know
them.
what? According to the show, she's older than this Loki, which don't even try to get me on the mechanics of how
And I'm
that's
just like,
possible.
okay.
It's like, and it's like, you're telling me she's been after this for thousands of years and now she's having
And she's
cold feet?
nervous. She's what?
Fucking
Yeah.
what?
I remember watching that and going, sorry, what?
Like, it took them nearly 5 minutes to get into the damn building and all they were
Yeah.
doing is standing around.
I was like,
Jeez.
where is the menacing character from episode 1 and 2, please?
I love how you just said menacing character from 1 and 2, because after she was introduced, she just kind of made no
She
sense.
stopped being menacing. Legit. Like, okay, sure, she was warming up to Loki and she was letting her guard down. Sure, you can still have an edge to you even if you let your guard down.
Yeah, especially when
Like,
considering the fact
she
that
could
this
still
has
be
been her
like,
goal for
yeah,
thousands of years.
she could still be like, I don't trust you with the other Lokis. She could still be like, I don't trust you with Mobius. She could, you know, she could still be like, I'll kill you if you like double cross me, kind of thing. Like every couple of minutes, like even when she's like warming up to Loki, you could still have a go. Like seriously, if you betray me, I will chop your head off or something like that.
Like, the way female Loki was behaving was kind of how I was expecting actual Loki to behave. Well, actually, the variant of the original Loki to behave.
Mm.
Because that was 2012 Loki, to the point. Kurt likes to have a joke, but will absolutely stab you in the
Will
throat.
stab you in the face. Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas now, in the space of an episode, he's turned into a fragile little
He,
um something,
he's a simp for himself. Well,
which is weird. Yeah, like,
female version of himself. And I'm like, oh, that could be a kind of interesting way of being like, you should love yourself. But then I was like, also, he's a narcissist, so it makes sense. But I was like,
height of
also,
narcissism
why?
here.
I was
And
like,
this,
could we not like have him like grow and maybe like end up in like it doesn't even have to be because a lot of people were like I wanted him to have like romantic feelings with Mobius because the whole Loki's bisexual thing and I'm like okay no you don't need to do that like he can still be bisexual even if he's in a relationship with a woman
yeah.
like or even if it's a platonic relationship it can still be a bisexual character
Yes,
okay because they
just because
confirmed
they're
it
bi
yeah
doesn't mean they have to have sex with everything that moves, please.
exactly like I'm bi and I'm in a relationship with a straight person
Yeah, and like,
I'm still bi though.
that's the thing. Like, you could have friendships between. This assumes that the characters are consistent, but uh, like Loki could have a friendship with both Mobius and female Loki.
Yeah,
Female Loki
there you
would
go.
be, oh, him coming to terms with who he is, and with Mobius, like him actually, having to have the arc he had with Thor in the mainline films.
Yeah,
Okay,
literally, that could
it's
happen.
it's something.
I would have, yeah, like that's what I mean. Like, I think you pointed it out to me. You're like, wouldn't it have been better if he'd had like a closer relationship with Mobius or built upon that rather than himself? Because like that's just kind of
Yeah, have a
wrong.
Sam and Frodo relationship with him and Mobius that
Yeah,
starts out rocky, but by the end of the season, it's like, okay, do you know what? I don't like you, but I consider you a friend, or some snarky thing like that. And
yeah.
it's like,
Well, yeah, you can, and yeah, like you said, you can still have him be close with female Loki, but it doesn't need to be romantic.
yeah, like, this is what I fucking hate about modern day comic book films. It's like, oh yeah, we gotta have a relationship and we gotta leave it ambiguous so that anyone can
Yeah,
create their Tumblr fiction. Like, okay, either
yeah,
commit or leave it out.
yeah. Like shippers gonna ship. Like I know so many people probably ship Loki and Mobius together.
Oh god, like I've seen some of the fan art.
People probably ship Loki with alligator Loki, and that's just disturbed me.
I haven't checked that, but I will
I
let you
don't want
know.
to know. Okay, you can tell me, but I don't want to see it.
That's fine. I'll make sure you see some.
Or
No.
Loki and like older Loki.
Oh, you know there's someone into that.
There's a ship for that. There's a ship for everything, honestly.
Like
Uh, it's
that's one of the
funny.
things I loved about the original Blade. You know, the thing that started this train in the first place in the
Yeah.
90s. They had the
Oh,
balls to have Blade and Karen just be friends at the end. Not even friends,
yep,
just workmates at the end.
yep.
No romance
It's
whatsoever,
very
and I'm
good.
like, okay,
Yeah.
this is why Blade is
Honestly,
cool.
yeah. Honestly, I went into this not expecting a romance. I was expecting a game of cat and mouse between Loki and female Loki, and basically a battle of wits throughout the whole show. And I thought the end was when they were gonna finally maybe figure out how to work together.
You know, like, I think I only saw the one trailer when female Loki wasn't even into that. So I was thinking, if fucking me, sweet naive me, was thinking, oh hey, maybe this is gonna be like, oh, Loki's going from place to place, having a misadventure every single episode, and we're gonna have, like, you've seen Avatar: Last Airbender, right?
Yes.
You know that one episode where the Avatar team Avatar was going flying with Appa, lands, and then right on their tails is Azula. They go
Yeah.
again, but Azula's there, and then the more they go, the tighter they are, and the more Azula catches up.
Yeah.
I was expecting that with every episode, to the point where
Yeah.
eventually Loki's like, "All right, fuck it, I'm just gonna confront you because this is gonna be exhausting."
Yeah. Like I thought he was gonna be chasing this variant through a bunch of apocalypses to try and catch them and like just missing them every time for whatever reason and
Yeah,
possibly running into different variants. So I was really annoyed with the episode where they literally like I loved the variants that they had in there, you know, the alligator Loki, the older Loki, the kid Loki,
the
and
best episode, and it's only the best because it's the least broken. But you
yeah.
know,
I will tell you why it annoyed me though, because you got introduced to President Loki, which they've been hyping up the
hmm.
whole time, and it's literally just reduced to I got my arm bitten off by an alligator, and I was like, why?
And
Like
it's
I was
like,
genuinely mad. I was like, what? He's coming back, right? He's gonna go. He's gonna want revenge for his hand, right? And he never came back. And I was like, so you've literally just shoved all the variants in one episode as like a cameo.
and that was the only other Tom Hiddleston variant, and I'm like,
That annoyed me a
you had
lot.
Tom fucking Hiddleston. How could you waste him? Imagine
I
like
know. I
every
was
episode you get a
so
different Tom
annoyed.
Hiddleston Loki, and his Mobius is like, oh shit, which Loki am I supposed to be going after? And it's like having all
Yeah,
sorts of dilemmas. They're both playing tricks on him, and it's like, oh fuck, like it would have
that
been
would have been hilarious.
it would have been hilarious. It would have been in character. It would have been fun. It would have been interesting character. Like all of that would have been there. But
Like, I just
no,
wanted to see like Loki clash with a bunch of different Lokis because it was genuinely interesting and funny.
yeah.
But it gets literally reduced down to one episode. And when I found out it was only 6 episodes, I was like,
Oh.
it's gonna be super short. So yeah, like I don't know what happened because One Division was like way longer. It had what 10 episodes,
9 episodes, but
9 episodes, and then
WandaVision
they
was
shortened them
shorter.
down.
I
Yeah, it was
think
shorter. I was just like, why have they started shortening them? Because like Falcon and Winter Soldier was only 6 episodes as well, wasn't it? Or was it
See,
7?
even though like WandaVision was 9, and both this and Black Falcon and White Winter Soldier was 6, but I think in terms of actual runtime, it's around the same.
Just 1 second.
No problem. Ah, and now it is just me by myself, which means I need to figure out what I'm gonna be talking about. But yes, to continue on, like the fact that there was such a mishandling of Loki in such to such a degree that the potentially most creative show in the MCU is reduced to people sitting down, talking, and not doing much else, all the way to the final moments of episode 6, where we've gotten character regression to the point where Loki is unrecognizable from what he should be at this particular point in time. Whereas the original Loki that we saw die in Infinity War had to go through a 10-year arc to get through that point. This
Hello.
series, oh, I was just going off on one, but
Okay. Tell me, I want to know what you were saying. I just had to go let my cat in and get my key bath water.
oh, fair enough. I was just saying that this should have been the most imaginative and creative show in the MCU to date.
Absolutely. I was so
Instead,
hoping it would be.
yeah, and instead they reduced it to people sitting and talking for most of it.
Yeah.
Like, so much so to the point where you had characters that were completely unrecognizable by the ending. And this is where I was when you came in. It's like I was just continuing on the thought. Like, you can have characters change, like Loki changed in the original versions of the film, but that happened over 10 years, whereas they
Yeah.
forced it to happen over the course of minutes.
Yeah.
And that is just not realistic whatsoever, because 2012 Loki wouldn't just watch a highlight reel of the best moments of the MCU and think, oh my god, I'm gonna change now. If anything,
Yeah,
he would
no.
double down.
Yeah, I'd be like, I refuse to let that happen to me because apparently being good made me die.
Absolutely. And it's
That's
like,
how I
no.
would see it. I'd be like, heck no, I'm not going to be a Goodman. I'm going to turn bad. Also, you've got me saying Goodman now. Happy done.
Oh my god. I will
we
infect
we have
everyone.
been we have been spending too much time together, so I'm now taking on some of your traits. It's great, to be honest.
Yay.
I kind of love it when you're like that good friends with somebody, you start taking on some of their traits.
Oh my god, imagine in 5 years' time you just become me.
Oh no, just straight up turn into a variant of you.
Oh my god, it's Loki shenanigans.
Oh, that'd be funny. Oh.
So, I think we were talking about
Oh,
Sylvie before
yeah,
we
we
went
were.
off on that, but yeah, Sylvie was assassinated in that episode because A, she was reluctant to enter the goal she had for thousands of years, and B,
Yeah,
she wasn't even willing to talk about the choice because they're both kind of horrific when you think about it. It's like you either
yeah,
take Kang's
they're
place
both not great.
or
Or
you
you,
unleash free will and release infinite Kangs. And I'm just
and
like,
also the infinite Kangs are really, really, really scary. Apparently, but
oh my
that's
god,
why it annoyed me.
did you like when Loki went up to Owen Wilson and said he's terrifying? I'm like, was he? Did we
Was
see
he?
a
I was
different
like,
Kang?
yeah, I was like, you were frightened of that dude?
It's like I know guys who live down the road that looks like him, man. Like they're very nice if you talk to them.
Like he was surprisingly nice for a bad guy.
Yeah,
Like,
it.
and it wasn't even like pretend. It wasn't even like pretend nice or nice with a veil of "I will kill you."
No, he was
It
offering
was
them
just,
tea at one point. It's
"Do you
like,
want a
hey, do
cup
you
of
want a cup of
tea?"
tea?
Also, do you want to kill me? You know, go for it.
Yeah,
I'm right here. It's fine. And even when he was dying, he was like, "I'll see you later. Bye." I was like,
yeah,
I was like, one, thank you for dying, please, because really, and two, like, oh, what is wrong with you? You're a bad guy. Did you forget you're a bad guy or something?
yeah. But apparently,
Like,
that's what's
I'm
terrifying for Loki.
yeah. Like, I would like to say it's not the actor's fault, but they literally let him improvise, so he's kind of partly to blame.
And I was going through the episode, and I was like, I'm for anyone who hasn't seen them, they're gonna be so clueless. But do you remember
Like, what?
when we were filming The Planet?
Yes.
I'm
I
pretty
only did one
sure.
episode with you though, so
No, no, it's fine. Like, I'm pretty sure episode 6 of The Planet, so our season finale,
yeah,
had more dialogue than the entirety of the season finale of Loki.
probably.
I'm convinced, because there was so much dead air in that show.
Yeah.
And then,
It's
like,
just
Sylvie not even wanting to consider, oh, hey, this is something bigger than me. And when considering when she entered, it's like, this isn't about you. I was like, okay, maybe this
yeah,
is an experience look in a completely different way, a wartime. Okay,
yeah,
cool, cool. I'll see what happens. Well, nothing much happens. But even
yeah,
that Loki's taken away because now she's all
yeah.
about herself. And I'm like, I thought this wasn't you, Loki. What the
I
fuck's
know. I
happening?
was like, you've like taken on 2012 traits of Loki now. Did he like pass them on to you? And he's just
Yeah,
kind of now there, like I'm just here in the background, like hello.
maybe she sucked 2012 Loki's essence out of him and just absorbed it.
Yeah,
Because that'll explain why Loki has turned into a simp for female Loki.
yeah.
Like,
I think everyone's a simp for female Loki, to be honest.
I've this. It's so symptomatic of Marvel as well because, like, Black
Please
Falcon, White
stop
Winter
ruining
Soldier.
strong female characters. God damn it, we don't get very many of them. I'm so mad. Like you had such an opportunity to make this a really strong version of Loki in female form, and you ruined it. I'm so mad.
Like, how hard is
Sorry.
how how sad is it that we even have to say we need strong female characters? It's sad in this day and age to
Yeah.
say we need them
Oh my
when
god, right. I saw a thing on Facebook and somebody posted a meme and it was like, you were all disappointed with the Marvel endings because your expectations are too high. And I literally wanted to throw my laptop because I was like, no, I'm sorry. This isn't even high expectations. This is just wanting some good writing. And that you are literally saying, just don't have any expectations and you'll enjoy things. And it's like, no, I refuse.
remember
Go away.
remember the meme I sent to you? It's like I was expecting bad, but fuck's sake, man.
Yeah. So there you
Oh,
go. Even when you lower your expectations, it's still bad.
yeah,
Because I don't, I genuinely feel like I'm still kind of lenient with films. I'm a lot more lenient than you, I think, with some
I
of
think
them.
everyone we know is
Although,
more
yeah,
lenient than me.
although at this point I do feel like I'm starting to veer into not being very lenient. But honestly, what's wrong with wanting some good writing? Like, it's kind of the point, and it's kind of like the thing that we're passionate about is telling stories. So if you can't tell a story in like a cohesive way, then of course it's not going to be enjoyable for people who like go in for that kind of thing. So to say like, oh, it's just because you've got high expectations that it's bad. Like if you lower your expectations, you'll enjoy it more. And it's like, no, not really.
Like, my expectation just makes sense, and they can't even do that.
Yeah, and I mean, like, there are bad films where I genuinely like them. They're
Yeah,
nostalgic, but they make sense too. Like
I'm gonna
some
say
of
it.
them, some of them
Twilight
don't.
makes
But
more sense.
you know what? It kind of does, and that's
That is a sad thing
bizarre.
to say, but
It
Twilight makes
makes
more
yeah.
sense.
Okay, here's the thing. Like, it makes sense, but that doesn't always mean it's good.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I
Like,
feel like a lot of people would associate with makes sense as good. It's like no, makes sense means the story kind of works and there's nothing breaking it.
it's the bare minimum you should be
The
expecting.
story, yeah, the story is legit. Person falls in love with vampire.
And
No.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but at least yeah, it's consistent. That is the narrative.
That's the
Yeah.
narrative, and it never veers off. It never goes into like anything else. It's just a straight up twisted, warped. I wouldn't call it
Yeah.
a love story. It's more like a cautionary tale.
Well, they want to tell us it's a love story, but we know what it actually is.
Yes. It,
Like that's the
it's
thing. Like we're not even expecting much anymore, but that low
mhm.
bar, they can't even
There you
they
go.
can't
You
step
you're
over a
having trouble
puddle.
meeting. Yeah, you are having trouble even when we lower our expectations. You are making it still bad. Like it's still
Yeah.
worse than what we were. Because like obviously didn't have very high expectations going into Black Widow, and that managed to be worse than our expectations.
It was so
And
bad.
yeah,
Oh, but
same with Wonder Woman 84 because I'd already watched Wonder Woman 1 and didn't like that. So I was like, Wonder Woman 84 is not going to be good. Or
it was
maybe it might
worse.
be fun in places, and it was way worse than expected.
Oh, like
Um,
it's kind of impressive, but in a depressing way.
yeah. But yeah, I don't think lowering expectations is the problem here. I think the problem is Marvel are so big for their boots now, they just think they can pump out anything and people will watch it. And
Genuinely.
apparently that's working.
Like they've had so much success that they've almost become too big to fail, and I
Yeah.
don't like that. I miss the days of Iron Man 1 where they literally had
Yeah.
to find change on their couch to make that film.
Yeah.
You know, where they were having trouble from the superiors because they didn't want Robert Downey when their props
Yeah.
would fail, when the all things were catching fire and all. Like I miss those days because
Yeah.
people were focused on the narrative over anything else, and it holds up.
Yep. We want to tell a story, focus on the story, and the rest will fit in neatly. But if you just want to like take parts like characters and throw them in a story, this is what's going to happen is it's going to make no sense. People might still enjoy it because some people will just kind of see the character and whatnot, and this is something I used to do a lot with films. Like after starting this podcast, I'd look at films a bit more objectively in terms of story and stuff like that. But I do feel like a lot of people watch it for the character or a specific element and like they can ignore the narrative if it's got any problems.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head earlier on this episode where you were saying, I think I'm paraphrasing, but essentially they start with green lighting the project and they try to come up with an idea to fill it afterwards.
Yeah.
And
They
it's like,
take the thing. So they took Loki and were like, how can we stick Loki in a story? Let's throw him in here. And also let's add a female version, make him fall in love with his female version.
oh, it,
Which kind of I was saying like is kind of it could work as self love, but it also could work as a sad thing of saying no one else will ever love Loki but Loki. And I was like, oh, now I'm sad.
it's
Loki
very
deserves some
depressing
love.
when you think about it.
When you actually like get down to it, it's like, yeah, great self love. He's already a narcissist though, and it's not self love. It's more like self importance.
Yeah, but it's like,
So it is kind of sad because it kind of is. I mean, that's my interpretation. Like, not everybody's gonna go, "Oh, Loki only loves himself. No one else will ever love him." But it was just kind of like that's what it started to feel like. Because this is the only love interest he's ever had, and it's himself. Well, not himself, but the female version of him. You know,
on screen at
and that's
least,
yeah, and
allegedly.
that's kind of sad. I mean, in the comic books, he's had multiple different people apparently. Even a horse. I won't go there.
That's in the original horse mythology, Norse
Yeah,
mythology.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was reading up about it and I watched a video about it. One of my favorite YouTubers did a really interesting video on like Loki as a queer icon. It was quite interesting.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Like they go through like his Norse mythology like stories, then they go through him in the comics, and then they talk about him in the cinematic universe, and it was very interesting and also disturbing to learn about the stuff Loki did in Norse mythology. Like, oh dear.
This is a PG Loki in comparison.
Yeah, this is a very PG Loki. But yeah, I was just like, the only love interest Marvel have decided to give Loki is Loki, and that's kind of sad.
Yeah, because now
Because you
you've
could
got,
change it. It's the cinematic universe. You could do whatever you want with it, but you've gone for, well, everyone's got to have a love interest.
and it's like they've, and because they've done that, they've got contradictive themes now. Because on the one hand, oh, he's not alone because he's got Mobius by his side and they're friends, but simultaneously, oh, no one wants Loki in their lives, so they just gotta be isolated by themselves with literally themselves. And like,
Yeah,
kind of seeing contradictive themes here, bro.
yeah, kind of sad. Also, you can read into the self love themes, but like I said, I just managed to interpret it in a very sad way, which
I
might
was
say
just,
more about me.
I was trying to figure out if Loki having sex with female Loki counts as masturbation or not.
Probably would count as masturbation.
Like,
I saw a funny meme as well. It was like Thor going fuck yourself, and Loki was like, "I tried," and I was like, "Oh no."
oh, the fact that they can actually
The
make that
memes are
joke
just
now.
on. I know. I was like, "Oh, I feel uncomfortable."
But to have a little minor issue before we go on to another world breaking issue. I love.
This is kind of working better than going through episode by episode, really.
God, yeah, because if we're doing episode by episode, we will literally be here longer than the Snyderverse
Yeah.
arc.
I am just like watching some episodes just to refresh my. I've just got it playing in the background while I'm talking to you though,
Same here.
and I'm
But
just pausing it on some bits that I want to talk about. So yeah,
oh, fair enough.
continue.
But yeah, like this is a nitpick in the grand scheme of things compared to what we've spoken about already. But I, I thought it was comical that Loki, the adopted frost giant, was getting a bit chilly.
A baby blue icicle.
And I was like, he was getting so chilly that he needed to conjure a fucking blankie for him and female Loki. And I'm
I
like,
know. I was like, this guy has ice. This guy has literal ice in his like DNA.
there's a fucking ice demon, man. What the hell's going on?
He's just a
Oh,
very small ice demon.
it's mental. And it's like, if it's if it's so cold that a frost giant is shivering, then everyone else should be an icicle.
Yeah,
Mobius should be dead.
yeah. It was very clearly I made you a blankie. Here you go, cute moment. I
And
was
you know
just like,
what?
stop it. I was
Be-
annoyed because it briefly worked on me because I was like, oh, okay, they're kind of cute. And then I was like, snap out of it, no!
I can just imagine you splitting like an amoeba and slapping yourself and conjoining again. Like- Uh, yeah, like the fact that they had to do that is like, oh, hey, yeah, isn't this cute? Isn't this wonderful? And it works. It works on people.
This is what I mean. It worked on me, and I was like, I'm ashamed of myself. But I was like, oh, it's cute, and then I was like, actually, it's not though. It's really not. So don't fall for it.
It's like this is also 2012 Loki. The version that really likes to be fashionable with high taste. And I'm like, the
This
only
is where I was
thing
gonna talk about the outfit. He's wearing a shirt and fucking tie.
I know, I was so fucking annoyed, and I was
I
like,
was like,
why?
he.
You can use oh. Okay, let's
The
talk about
rest
the
of the
costumes
time,
first.
he dresses so cool and this is what got brought up in the queer icon video. The way he dresses kind of suggests a bit of femininity about himself in a way,
Absolutely.
and they've just took that away, and I'm just like, leave him alone. He was fine wearing his like green and yellow. It looked really good on him. Also, Tom Hiddleston looks like awesome in all the costumes. Why didn't you
Like,
give him cool costumes, Joe? Why did you give him a shirt and tie? Were you trying to make him look like a detective because it didn't work?
no, if anything, this kind of lowered his
He looked
appeal
like
because in the
yeah,
originals, like, he got the robes flowing, all the armor and everything, and I'm like, oh,
even the
fucking
suit and
yes, bro.
tie. I was like, oh yeah, he looked
But
good.
the fact that this is all he wears, I'm like, you look like an accountant.
You look like a office worker, man.
You look like Homer Simpson on a day off. Like, come on. Or Homer
Yeah.
Simpson with hair, but like that's the thing. So much of the appeal from Loki, the Loki we knew, is gone. He's not
Yeah.
menacing. His fashion sense is completely out the window and
Yeah.
doesn't behave like Loki, doesn't think like Loki, doesn't think to use magic like Loki. Like, let's go back to Ragnarok one more time. Like, Loki is so fucking paranoid that he will always make illusions of himself regardless of who he's with. Like, that's why they made the joke at the end when Thor was like, if you were real, I'd even hug you. And Loki, for the first time, is like, nah, do you know what? It's actually me, so we can hug. Like, boom. Like, even with friends and family, he's projecting illusions of himself because he's that paranoid about who might be after him. But here, he doesn't use it once. He gets
Yeah.
beaten up, tossed around, thrown out of trains, and kicked in the balls for half an episode.
Oh my god, that was so stupid.
Like, me, silly little me, fucking moron that I am, when I saw that part, I was like, oh, do you know what? Maybe they're gonna have it that by the time Mobius returns, Loki would have convinced Lady Sif to be talking with him instead of kicking him in the nuts and show how intelligent he is. No, no, we're just gonna kick him in the balls for 15 minutes. And I'm like, of course they are. What the fuck were you expecting, you fucking retard? Like, I was actually mad at myself for expecting them to be creative there.
Yeah.
That episode annoyed me so much. And
But because you had high expectations, that's why. That's the only reason you don't like it, is because of your high expectations, man.
oh my god, like maybe I
It's
should
not
pretend
even
it's what I
funny.
wanted.
Yeah.
Oh my god, like I was watching a Rise of Skywalker video a while ago, and the guy
Yeah.
was like, do you know what? Maybe if you pretend this is what you wanted, you might like it. And I'm like, no shit, Sherlock. I'm like, I can't believe someone actually said that unironically, but
Yeah. Just no. Like, I don't mind if people like it.
yeah.
If you've managed to find something in the things that we're saying we don't like, then that's great. Like, wonderful. Just I feel like it gets kind of annoying when people are like, "You're hurting my feelings because you're saying it's bad," and it's like, but I'm objectively having problems with the story. Those are the things I don't like.
Mm,
It's
yeah.
it's it's no it's not like a personal attack on a person. It's just you have different tastes than me, and that's kind of why it gets annoying
Yeah, and
when people take it as a personal attack, and it's like, you asked me what I thought about it, and then I literally give reasons why I don't like it.
like genuinely, I stopped having these kind of conversations with normies. Like, whenever someone says, "Oh, hey, I like Rise of Skywalker," I just kind of switch off my brain and go, "Oh, yeah, 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 that's cool. What
Yeah.
do you like about it?" They'd say
Yeah.
something, and I would just in one ear,
You're
the
just like,
out.
"Mm."
Like my
Yeah,
brain can't take it. But it's like
yeah.
that's
I
the
think from
thing.
now on, I'm just gonna be like, "Okay, cool." And if they
Yeah,
go, "What did you think?" I'll be like, it wasn't my cup of tea, but,
yeah. That
each
genuinely,
to
that's
their
what I
own."
say.
That's a good answer.
because that's we're really passionate about it to the point where we're willing to like
Yeah.
in the Snyder Cut's case, we were willing to have a 15-hour conversation about that film,
Yeah.
but not
I
many
could talk
people are
about
like that.
film forever. Like, I feel so sorry for Ryan sometimes because I think he's just like, "Mhm, yeah."
like I would
And
never
then
have these kind of
yeah.
conversations with my parents or other friends who have no interest in
Yeah.
film.
Yeah, but I mean, it's quite funny. Like when my dad asked me about Black Widow, I had a 12-minute like breakdown of why I didn't like it, and he's like, "Okay." I was like, "He's sorry he asked what I thought about it." No, but he was like, "You explained why you didn't like it, so that's fair enough." And I did ask, and I was like, "This is true. You did ask. You did
yeah.
this."
Oh,
But yeah, with Ryan, like most of the time, he'll just like listen to me, and that's really great. But obviously, actually, he's gradually starting to like take an interest in film, so I think that's cool.
Nice.
Like
One
he
more
wanted to watch
joining the
Shutter
clan.
Island. Yeah, he actively went, "Let's watch Shutter Island because I want to watch it." Because there was the quote at the end made him interested, and then we watched it, and he was like, "This film is fucked up, but I really liked it." And I'm like, "It's good, isn't it?"
Shutter Island is pretty good.
Yeah.
Right, now, we spoke about a minor issue with the Frost Giant thing. So let's go back to a major issue. The fact that there were so many Infinity Stones laying
Yeah.
about in the Time
Just
Cop
chilling there.
headquarters. I'm like, and the
Yeah, we
fact
used them as paperweight.
that line made me so angry. Because now, if ever I watch Endgame again, I'm thinking, oh, Black Widow, you died for a paperweight, man.
Yeah.
Like, oh, Gamora, Thanos, you do realize that's just a paperweight, man. Like,
Oh, Iron Man, you just murdered yourself for a
with a
paperweight.
paperweight.
Literally, all of the hard work and fighting and the people we lost along the way, and it was a paperweight.
Like, I get the joke. I get what they're
Yeah.
trying to go for. It's, oh my god, this is the greatest power in the. Like, yeah. Anyway, you
And it's the
just made
paperweight.
you just made 22 films seem ridiculously simple. Like, all the stakes are just removed. Like, what stakes were left were removed, actually.
Yeah.
So much so to the point where it's like, oh, and the same guy who's like, oh yeah, he uses it as paperweight. The fact that he doesn't know what a fucking fish is working at
Oh
the Time
no.
Cops agency, I'm like, fuck off.
That was literally just so that like Loki could go, "I'll gut you like a fish." What's a fish?
It's like, logistically speaking, they know everything that happens in the universe. You're telling me you don't
Yeah.
know what a fucking fish is? Oh,
I laughed, I think, at the absurdity of it, not because I thought it was funny. I just
fair
thought,
enough.
what?
It's just,
You don't
I
know what a fish is, but you are like literally a TVA agent that is supposedly, you know, there to keep balance and order in the one timeline where you know everything that happens. And I was just like, that's just bizarre.
and you know what?
And
Animals
it's
make choices
dumb.
too, so they've melted animals.
Yep. Don't listen, kitty. They wouldn't melt you. You're very cute. So my cat just jumped on my knee.
Oh, fair enough. I was thinking, oh,
So
you're,
it's
you're
just
just going
like,
very method with that.
it's like, don't listen to him, kitty. You'll be fine.
Yeah, oh,
I feel like they would probably melt my cat because he's very mischievous and cheeky.
like Loki, like original Loki.
Yeah.
Oh my, the fact that I had to preface that. Uh,
Oh no.
yeah, that's another world-breaking issue because imagine if someone like female Loki, imagine if Thanos managed to find out about the Time Cops, infiltrated their base, and took all the stones. That's it. It's
Yeah.
done. It's over. And it's like,
It's done. You go to snap. So basically, you're saying the snap was supposed to happen and the snap was unhappened, and that
and
was all the TVA. Oh my god, I'm so mad.
oh, fucking that brought up another issue. Okay, so the Avengers went back in time, and Loki in court said, "Oh, it's not my fault. It's the Avengers' fault." And it's like,
Yeah,
no, no,
and it
no.
was like they were supposed to do that. I was like, what?
And I'm like, oh, okay. So the guys writing your script has no idea about Loki because Loki did what Loki is supposed to do. He picked up the Tesseract and left. That's Loki, down to a fucking T. And now you're telling me that's not what he's supposed to do? I'm sorry.
What?
Like, does Kang know who
Literally, yeah.
Loki is?
Like literally, the whole way for Loki to get the Tesseract was for everything that literally happened because of the Avengers going back in time. So it was like, wait, they were
Yeah.
supposed to do that. So you're saying that was supposed to happen where the opportunity for Loki to get the Tesseract was there.
And you know what? If we're operating under that assumption, you're trying to tell me that, okay, Loki wasn't supposed to get the Tesseract, which means Cap and Iron Man would have no reason to go back to the 70s, which makes that entire segment redundant, which means that part where they go back to the base and Tony talked to his dad and we saw Jarvis in the flesh, all of that is technically variant material and should have been
Yeah.
melted.
Yep. That was just dumb. The whole bit where they were like, "Yeah, the Avengers went back in time." Oh, it's fine. They were supposed to. And the whole do you know the bit where Doctor Strange is like, "I've gone through every timeline, and this is the only one where you
But
win."
that's because his idiot little monkey brain couldn't understand that it was all written. Fucking
Apparently
hell.
so.
Oh, it's like, I've gone
Just
through
see,
14 million
see,
and six.
yeah,
It's like, oh,
yeah.
have you now, Doctor Strange?
I don't think
Fascinating.
you have. I think literally you just went through the one and lied and said it took you a long time.
Yeah, you were just trying to show off to them, weren't you?
Mm.
Jeez, like, that makes Infinity War worse.
This
Fucking
is what
hell.
this is a big thing where it's like you've literally broken your universe. You've kind of okay, you can go back and watch the movie and pretend Loki doesn't exist, but you've actively canonly broken the rest of your movies now. That's impressive. Like, how do you do that?
I think the only way you can fix it is if it was all a dream. He got
Yeah,
hit by Hulk so hard he got knocked out for a few seconds,
it
opened
would
his
make
eyes, saw
sense.
Loki, saw Hawkeye with an arrow. It's like, oh, like this is all a dream that happened. That's the only way you can
Yeah.
fix this universe.
I feel like they started taking notes from DC. This feels like something DC would do because they're not very concerned about being consistent in their universe, or
I
they
think
will
it's
do
more of an
something that
X-Men
completely
thing
alters it. Oh yeah,
because you've got Sir Patrick Stewart, Professor Charles, and you've got James McAvoy, Professor Charles, 10 years
yeah,
apart.
that's
It's
true.
like fucking what? And you've got a 60-year-old Magneto
Strong.
in Michael Fassbender just wrecking stuff and looking like a Vogue model. And then
Yeah,
10 years later, you turn to Sir Ian McKellen. It's like, what the hell?
yeah.
Oh, but DC's not far behind, believe me. They'll get there eventually. Flashpoint
Ugh.
is yet to come.
Oh, honestly, I feel like you start messing with time travel, you ruin it. You break everything that's come before it, especially if it's a massive universe that's been building for 10 years.
Hmm.
I
And you
feel
know
like you
what?
have to be a bit more careful.
And that's the thing with this MCU now. It's been going for so long. There are so many characters that at this point, with the amount of characters they have, they're going to slip up
Yeah.
because you can't. This is why it took J.R.R. Tolkien like 20, 30 years to write Lord of the Rings because of the sheer scale of the world that he was developing.
Yeah.
And
I wouldn't even know how to develop a massive world like that. Like that just seems daunting and scary to me. I may try doing it one day.
and he like I can't. And this is and Tolkien was one person trying to come up with the
Yep.
mythology. This is like 20 different people having their own story to tell in a universe that's
Hmm.
actually got nothing to do with the universe. I'm like, oh my god, like you've got no chance.
Yeah. Just don't use time travel and things. It just kind of makes movies not work
It,
logically.
it makes the entire narrative a bit gloopy and just like
Yeah, a little bit.
right. So that's the Infinity Stones and time travelisms.
Mm.
Right. Also, while we're on that topic, why the fuck do they even have a court system? It doesn't matter. You either get
Yeah,
melted or not. In fact, just why waste time with the court system? it it just makes no sense. It's like
yeah,
even when the woman asks, "Oh hey Loki, are you innocent or guilty?" and Loki's like, "I'm innocent. Based on the information I had and the materials at my disposal, I did what I'm supposed to do. Ergo, I am innocent." But time comes, like, "Nah, you're guilty." Like, oh okay, why are we having this then?
yeah. What was the point? Was it because you wanted a scene in the courtroom? Is that why you wanted directors? Is that it? Don't know why I'm using a baby voice. I know, because I feel like it's a baby decision. I don't know.
I think babies have more talent writing than these guys.
This show, honestly, my 8-year-old has way more talent and creativity to write a better story.
I think you're insulting him by saying he has. I think it's a foregone conclusion.
I'm
Um,
sorry. I'm sorry, Mikey. I didn't mean to insult you. He's asleep. He doesn't. Yeah.
okay. It's like, yeah, the court system makes no sense because you're predetermined to be guilty, and like there is no reason for it to even exist. So now, I want to talk about why the time cops themselves are pretty stupid. Um, they've got the cool '60s aesthetic, and they're the technologically they're the most advanced civilization, and
Yeah.
they've got Mr. Clip from Microsoft Word helping them in the form of a clock saying, I can find you any information you want. And they're going
She's
through
terrifying.
files.
Miss
They're going.
Minutes is terrifying. She's got those wide, bulging eyes that just they haunt me in my nightmares.
I was just thinking, yes, Joe, I should be playing Fallout instead.
Yeah.
I just found her grating more than anything else. But like you've got Miss Miss Minutes. That's the name. I didn't even realize.
Yeah.
But like you've got Miss Minutes, who can look at all the information that's available in the Time Cops Association. And you're telling me you're sifting through papers. Like, use your search engine. Guys!
Yeah.
Like, the way they're doing this in the Time Cops Association is the most convoluted roundabout way of doing it. It's like if you've got an itch on your left ear, but you reach round the back of your head with your right ear to your right hand to scratch it. Like, what the no, just use your left hand, reach up and scratch it. Don't use your right hand behind your head and then like do there's a simple way of doing it. Use the search engine. Like, I get it. The aesthetic is cool. It's so 60s. It's nostalgic. It's fun. But it makes no sense.
Yeah.
Like, okay, something I would have preferred is if we're going under the scenario that Loki and Mobius are working together. They go on different missions each episode, but every time they come back, they're at a different point in time in the Time Cops Association. The one episode, it'll be the 1960s. One episode,
Yeah.
it'll be, fuck it, 1400s. Next,
Yeah.
3045. And Loki's like, what the fuck's going on? But because they've got such an understanding of how time works, they'll be like, oh yeah, we were expecting you, don't worry. Oh, that person, oh, she died like 6,000 years ago, don't worry about it. It's like, what?
Yeah. That'd be like, what?
Like, A, that would be kind of fun because you're mixing up times, and B, you're getting the absurdism of the situation. C, you're seeing how nonchalant everyone's acting as a result of experiencing it, and we are experiencing it through Loki. So you've got multiple things you can do there, but
Yeah.
we don't. That
Oh, the scene where Loki's trying to bat Miss Minutes. Why is this a thing?
oh yeah, well, Also, another thing that's broken, as if there weren't enough. Um, Female Loki hiding in catastrophes, and the example that they chose to go to was Pompeii. Now, I don't know if the writers knew, but there were a few survivors in Pompeii.
And this was supposed to be like no survivors kind of thing. I think they
Also,
were. I think they were betting on like not many people knowing about it.
yeah, it's like there were a few, but there were survivors. Um,
Yeah, and
Also,
it's quite likely that a lot of people don't know that, so
no,
don't even consider it.
the writers clearly didn't. But
Yep.
like that's anytime we talk about a show, it's like, oh yeah, that made no sense, and someone would be like, why? Oh, because this really weird random fact I happen to know. um, but yeah, and even then, it's like you've got the way the figures of Pompeii are preserved under the lava. if you had some Asgardian speaking in Latin wearing a suit and tie and they started mucking about, that would change their positions, which already means there's gonna be a variant world. Either way, you're fucked.
Yeah.
And I really hate the fact that Loki dried himself by conjuring magic, but doesn't bother to change into different clothes in the entire show.
Yeah. If I was Loki and I had the ability to do that, I'd literally put the coolest outfits I could think of on myself. Like, I
Oh,
want that ability.
oh, so you mean like he used to?
Yeah. Like, literally, my style changes, like, daily, and, like, that would be a pretty handy power for me to have.
I'd just be wearing pajamas.
Yeah.
um, which also this
Also,
is. Oh, go on.
and you know how you mentioned, like, the projection thing he can do? He literally talks about it, but never does it. Because
Yeah.
he's like, I'm on the part where he's giving them an explanation of how it works.
Oh, I literally passed that a few minutes ago. But yeah,
And I'm
also,
just
there's no
like,
way you're
why
going
is
to
he
make
not
me
using it
believe.
then?
Yeah, he explains it, and I'm like, you're explaining it to the people that you want to hurt in the future, mind you.
Yeah, you're also explaining it. It basically, this is a scene to make Loki be like, I'm smarter than you guys, haha.
But even then, they go, oh, that Loki doesn't understand how stupid he is, and like, turn around, variant, ha ha ha.
Yeah.
But now, this next part is a personal thing, and you're free to disagree with it, but
Okay.
I don't like how the Time Cop's best agent is unathletic. The
Okay.
black woman who beats up Loki in the start.
Oh, okay.
Because for me, if you're going to be doing that particular job where it requires you to have a lot of physical ability,
Oh, yeah, and chase people
I
down. It makes sense that,
yeah, I
yeah.
can't like for instance, in the first Hunger Games, you had Districts 1 and 2 and they're fucking ripped
Oh,
because
yeah.
they were trained to do this. Like, are you really expecting me to believe you'd have an officer who's barely faster than a turtle at full sprint as your best officer? Like, in terms of believability, I can't believe that. Especially considering how much sports I've played. Like, I'm
Yeah,
all
that's
for
fair.
having diversity of body types in a show, but have it for appropriate characters.
Yeah.
Because it
Well,
really hurts believability.
you literally could even have her still be athletic because, your body type doesn't affect being able to run fast.
Yeah, or at least have her station be different. Like, maybe she's like a
Or
bodyguard or
she's the best
something.
in yeah, she's the best at fighting or something, and then you have a
Yeah,
speedy one.
yeah, like
Like
have them work in
you
pairs or something.
yeah, you could have her, and then you could have one that's like specifically like was an athletic runner or something before the TVA took him or
Like you've
something, or even a female athlete or whatever. You could literally just
like you got the muscle and the speedy. Like
yeah,
you can make it work. But it's like have the speedy one chase them down, distract them or something, and have the enforcer come up behind and
just
just
knock them
wallop
out.
them. Whereas
Yeah,
here, you expect me to believe that she's the best you've got. I can't do that, show.
yeah.
Um,
Like for me, that wasn't an issue, but like you said, it was a personal thing. But
yeah,
I do see why it's an issue. But like personally, I didn't have a problem with it.
yeah, that's fine. It's varying degrees of believability, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's like Abby from The Last of Us Part 2 being as jacked up as she is in a post-apocalypse. It's like, sorry, what? Like, do you realize how much protein you need to consume every single day to get that body? Like, no.
Yeah, and I feel like that amount of protein would not be easily obtainable in the apocalypse.
Yeah, and just like maybe if the judge who was convicting Loki in Gugu and Beta like um the one that Owen Wilson simps for.
Oh yeah,
Like
I
if
know the
she
one you
was
mean.
working alongside her, I'd be more willing to believe it
Yeah.
because they're kind of like a tag team kind of thing. But as it is, I'm like, nah. And plus, these are humans. How are humans beating up Loki when Loki's just been beaten up by the Hulk? Like,
Yeah.
no. I'm sorry, no. And why do they have batons? Use a fucking gun. Like, okay, for context, these the time cops use stun batons essentially, and they
Yeah.
have to touch you in order for you to be melted.
Yeah, if you have a gun, then you could easily melt them much
Literally,
more efficiently. That makes more
yeah.
sense.
And you know what?
But
If that's all
but
they
sticks
have,
look cool.
uh, if that's all they have in terms of weaponry,
They could be
how are
easily
you
like murdered.
literally how are you going to melt anyone from the deep south in the US?
How are you gonna melt anyone that how would they, like say if the Hulk did something wrong, how are they planning to magically melt him? Because oh my god, I think the Hulk would squash them before they even got anywhere near him. So like how are they planning to deal with, you know, literally anybody who has superpowers or literally anybody who's an alien or anybody that's
Okay, so
lethal?
let's take away superpowers and aliens.
Okay.
Hawkeye.
Yeah, Hawkeye would just be like, "Nope, you're dead. Nope, you're dead. Nope, you're dead. Nope, you're dead."
These guys, I can't believe they've been so successful when they're so stupid. It's actively ridiculous. Like female Loki,
It
like
really does make no sense. It's like,
when you really
why
think
have you
about
not
it,
got more deadly weapons? Like, it would make sense.
like have a converted pistol that melts people, like something. Like guns are really effective when it comes to melting people in real life,
Yeah,
never
I
mind in
feel like
fictional shows.
I feel like they were modeling the timekeeper, the TVA, off of a specific, like
Riot
outfit
gear.
and weapon. So I feel like they've just gone and run with it and not really. They've definitely not considered the implications of these guys are very easily beaten, and how have they managed to keep the timeline from basically disintegrating this whole time? It's come close like a few times already. So
Yeah,
I'm like, I don't get it.
and you know what? That makes me question why it took female Loki thousands of years of planning when all she
Yeah,
needed was
like I
like
feel
a
like she could have just
firearm.
yeah,
A firearm and a teleporter, and boom, you've destroyed the TVA.
yep,
Oh my god, it hurts. Like, these are all, like, with the exception of conjuring a blanket, these are all critical issues. Like,
yeah, definitely.
oh, like,
Like these are not just nitpicks; these actively make no sense in terms of world building.
they hurt the narrative so much. And it's like,
Yeah.
usually, like, remember in like 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago when one world breaking issue was bad? This had like 5 or 6 we've spoken about.
Yeah. Just like what?
Oh, but
This sh-
like,
this the show is kind of broken, guys. Like I liked it because I liked Loki, but also it's broken as heck
it's a 1 out of 10.
and
According to our scale, it's a
disappointing.
1 out of 10.
Yeah. I think for me, I just enjoyed seeing the character again because I missed him. That
Yeah,
doesn't
like,
make it good.
no,
That's
exactly.
that's an emotional thing. That's not objective. That's emotional. I am attached to Loki as a character. So of
And
course I was gonna watch this and still enjoy seeing him. I'm sad that he was ruined, but I still like him as a character.
I like the character he was. Or at least I like true Loki, from Infinity War, that died after completing his arc.
Yeah, that
This
one.
Loki is just pathetic.
Yeah, it's quite sad. The ending was just super underwhelming, and my cat's being really cute. It's really hard to stay mad.
Well, you've got a stress toy over there.
He's just
Oh,
stuck his head right in my hand.
oh.
It's so cute. He's just like, you're my pillow now. Oh. Anyway.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if there's any more critical world destroying issues. Oh, when they go to Leventis, it's in the middle of being destroyed, and it starts out with a meteor shower, like from the broken moon coming down, and they rush over to a caravan to stay safe. And like, oh my god, it's all coming down. What are we gonna do? The next scene, they're walking, going without a care in the world. And I'm like, excuse me? Weren't you just running for your lives a second ago? Like,
Yeah.
it's a pretty
Let's have a
colorful
drink.
planet, but I'm like, what the
And
hell's
chill.
going on?
Yeah.
And then the one time he decides to conjure an illusion of him, well, not an illusion, but a disguise and change
And
himself.
it's a terrible, like, generic guard uniform.
And you know what? Unlike every other god, he's got the helmet up, which would give you away straight
Yeah.
away. And I'm like, Loki, at least pretend to care.
Yeah. Hold on, I'm still on episode 2. I'm just gonna move it to the next episode.
Oh, I'm just playing the episodes verbatim, and I'm just talking
Alright.
about the things that come to
Yeah,
mind.
that's fine. I just saw a bit where Loki was like, you know, the bit where they were like, could that be a variant of you? And I'm like, eh. And he was
Hmm.
like, oh no, I'd have worn a suit. I'm like, dude, why are you not wearing a suit right now then? Hmm?
Yeah, funny you said that.
Where's your suit, Loki? That annoyed me.
Nah,
This person has the ability to change his clothing, and he's like, I know, I'll just keep my shirt and tie. I would have preferred, like, that can't be me though, because I'd have worn a suit. It's like him seeing someone like wearing something and him going, that couldn't be me. Couldn't be me.
hmm. I mean, he wasn't even him.
No.
Which is a weird thing to say about a character, but yeah. Um. Also,
I want to know why Sylvie felt the need to possess people.
oh fuck that a bit. Like Sylvie is so amazing. She taught herself magic, and I'm like, excuse me.
No. She was kidnapped as a child. She would have had to, like, be taught that.
Yeah, and it's like Loki spent years training with his mother because he loved magic and he loved his mother, and it just kind of worked in tandem. Whereas,
Yeah.
female Loki is so amazing that she was able to teach herself magic, and I'm like, ah. And you had her teaching him how to use magic.
Yeah. Why couldn't it have been the other way around?
Oh, we can't have a man teaching a woman these days. That's just wrong. Oh my god! Speaking of men teaching women, did you hear that Tony Stark was originally supposed to make a cameo in Black Widow, but they cancelled his
Oh.
appearance because they didn't want Iron Man to take away from Black Widow?
Uh, I'm sorry, but Florence Pugh's character took away from Black Widow. She's just better.
Like, she was barely functional, but she was still the best character, and that's kind of sad.
Yeah.
She had the best moment in the film.
Yep. She
And
was the
oh,
only one. She was the only thing that made me laugh unironically at one point when she said that'd be a cool way to die.
as they were burying soldiers and inmates under an avalanche.
Yeah, it's still horrible.
Oh,
She
yeah.
got a giggle
It
out of
was
me.
it
And
was
literally,
mental.
Black Widow just has no arc or anything. It's like,
Yeah. Oh, and also speaking of men teaching women things, did you also know that apparently Doctor Strange was supposed to be in WandaVision, but they didn't want to have a man
that
teach
was
a
gonna
woman?
happen. Oh, for God's sake.
Like that was their actual reason. They didn't
Alright,
want him to teach her.
can I just say, like, there's nothing wrong with men teaching women how to do things. Like, I know that it might look like it's mansplaining, but, like, if it's legit something that they can't do, then it makes logical sense that someone would teach them, and you're actively kind of trying to, by saying, "Oh, we didn't want to include it because of this reason," now you're implying that
It's a form of bigotry. I'll
you're
say it.
implying that you're implying that men aren't allowed to teach people things.
Because men are toxic. Oh my! Like, imagine if
Like,
someone over here. Imagine if these writers watched Violet Evergarden and they saw Gilbert teaching Violet how to write.
they'd be like, "No!" It's like,
Um,
yeah, like, she didn't know how to write, now she does, and also now she has a really good relationship with this person because you can see how much he cares about her, which is why he taught her how to do it. Can be good reasons for men teaching women how to do things, I know. And, like, do you know if it's a situation where the man's teaching the woman to do something and it's done in a mansplaining way, you can literally call it out and just have the person be like, "Stop condescending to me and just teach me the thing, please."
yeah. Oh my god, could you imagine the writers of the MCU watching Violet Evergarden and just saying, yeah, that was alright.
Mm.
Like, it wasn't that good, but yeah, it was alright. I'm like,
What a
no.
what a stupid reason to not include,
Uh,
like, a cameo though, like, "Oh, because it's a man cameo, can't have that." It's like, why is it like, why? Because these are characters that actively don't they're not belittling, they're literally trying to help.
and like, of all the characters that could have been, like, let's take WandaVision. Like, of all the characters that should have been in WandaVision, it should
Definitely
have been the
Doctor
Sorcerer
Strange.
Supreme.
And also, he's the Sorcerer Supreme, that's why it would make sense for him to teaching. It has nothing to do with the fact that he's a man.
Oh, fucking hell. That show also had the audacity to say, oh, Wanda, you are the Scarlet Witch. You're greater than the Sorcerer Supreme. Like, I have no idea
Yeah.
what that means, show.
Why did you do that? Like, you don't need to say she's greater than someone. We get it. She's super powerful. She's like the only kind of being to have.
WandaVision's its own tism,
Yeah.
and that's just, fuck. Like, yeah, if we go off on WandaVision, that's gonna be another 4 hours.
Yeah,
Jesus.
it's a fair example. Like literally, they've just basically said we can't have men teaching these women to do things, and I'm like, well, why can't you have the women like be taught to do things? Why is that a not okay thing?
And it's so much
Women
of the media
are
today as well.
women are allowed to want to learn things, and maybe sometimes they have to ask men to help them learn things. But that's sometimes it doesn't make the woman any less empowered.
Yeah.
It
And it's like,
doesn't take away from the fact that this is a skill they actively wanted to learn, and it empowered them. Like, I'm just going to use an example. There's a book I really like, and it's called The Queen of the Tailing. And literally, the main character starts out as this flimsy, like, weakling that can't defend herself, and she almost gets killed like a ton of times. And literally, the goal is she has to get to this place to take the throne from like a powerful tyrant because it's rightfully hers. And she's literally like this flabby teenager, and she can't fight for shit. But she's surrounded by all these male bodyguards, right? And
hmm.
eventually, at one point, she goes, "Teach me how to fight with a sword." And at first, they're all like, "No, you're the queen. You shouldn't be able to. You shouldn't be using swords and whatnot." And it was like, literally, people are trying to kill me. So if I don't learn how to fight with a sword, I'm basically dead meat anyway, and I can't help you guys. So she's actively taking on an empowering role and being aware that she can't fight for shit, but she knows that she's kind of got to learn, otherwise she'll just die. And that's the fact that men are teaching her to fight does not take away her empowerment at all. And it makes her a heckin' more of a badass character.
Yeah, and that kind of reminds me of a show, of an anime. Of course, it's an anime called
Yeah.
Arte, and it's about a noble girl who gets kind of disowned by her family because she wants to be a painter in Renaissance Italy. Now, if you know
Yeah.
Renaissance Italy, almost all the painters were men. Um, so she was breaking the mold in a lot of ways because she was following her passion. So she leaves her home and chooses to be destitute until she finds a master that is willing to take her on, who happens to be a man. because it's a male-dominated profession, and there's a lot of people saying, "Oh, you're just a woman. You can't do it. You're just, a token." But then she works hard. She proves everyone wrong through her effort, through her ability, by learning, by failing, by growing. And by the end of the series, it's like, oh, hey, do you know what? You're painting the roof and your master's not feeling well because, he overworked himself. So all the men and all the women that helped her along the way, that earned her respect and earned their respect in return, all came together to paint the chapel. And it's like, ah, an
Yeah.
arc.
Look,
I miss those.
even Mulan learned from men, but she's still freaking badass and has the highest kill count of any Disney princess ever.
Oh my god, yeah. Oh yeah. Wait, are we talking original or remake?
Um, the original remake can go away.
Oh my god.
But yeah, the original, she learns from men and she becomes more empowered. Okay, she's pretending to be a man, so it makes sense.
Hmm. It's like,
But the fact she was taught by men and it didn't take anything away from her. So I don't think having a man teach a woman something in Marvel would really take away from them.
and Mulan is a really interesting one as well
Just
because
write
she
the
was,
character better, Jesus.
yeah, Mulan's interesting because she was being taught by men, but she was using that information by how she would do it, her as a
Yeah,
woman, because our skill sets are very different.
there you
Um,
go. Like, honestly, there you go. It's taking what you're learning and applying it in a way that you can use it.
Absolutely.
Honestly, it shouldn't really matter who's teaching you that. You are the one that's taking the knowledge and using the knowledge to your benefit. So again, why is the focus on we didn't want a man to teach this person something? Why are you putting the focus on that?
And it's so
Like,
symptomatic. Like, a lot of
oh,
people,
it's so frustrating.
a lot of the writers there are like, oh, we wanted to subvert expectations, but you're not subverting anything anymore. You,
No.
it's all, it's all part of the plan, literally. Because now, like Loki, Black Falcon, White Winter Soldier, WandaVision, Enola Holmes, The Last of Us, it's the same basic core character journey. It's not a matter of, oh, hey, it's not a matter of you have to go through an arc to grow and become a better person or change who you
Yeah.
were in order to attain your goal. No, it's you understand. It's the woman understanding that no, she's actually being held back by men, and that she needs to understand she was amazing all along. That's
Why
not a
can't it
great
just be
arc.
that why can't it just be that they can work together? Like, why can't we have a story arc where, yeah, the men are being dumb and stubborn, and then they actually learn, oh, actually, it works out better if we work together as a team, rather than me being like, I'm better than you, and rather than the woman being like, I'm better than you. It's like, how about why don't you just both be better together?
Yeah.
There you go. I just came up with that.
No, but it's so
How
true
difficult?
though, because if we were going back to like 5 years ago even, the Avengers, it had men and women working together, literally.
Yeah,
Because the Avengers had
yeah,
Iron Man, Thor, Hulk, Iron Man, true. But they also had Scarlet Witch. They also had Black Widow.
yeah,
They also had Maria Hill. They were all working together.
exactly. But now it's like, no, you can't have a man teaching someone something. It's getting silly now, and also it's frustrating me because it's making it really, really hard for people to be like, see, women suck, and it's like, "Ugh," making me mad because it's like now it's basically giving people excuses to be like, yeah, well, feminism's stupid.
I mean, this isn't even feminism anymore. It's
That's
misandry.
not. That's why I'm getting annoyed because it's like it's making it far too easy to push people away from equality. It's just no. Stop it.
um,
Just can you not just let female characters just be awesome and not I feel like it's just kind of detrimental by making them not need or not work well with men. Like, just putting them there on their own isn't promoting equality.
I think what makes it worse is the fact
Why
that
can't you just,
go on.
it's just like, why have you gotta just, well, I don't understand why it's so difficult to have well-written male characters and well-written female characters in a thing, or if you want to make an all-female thing, that's fine too. If you want to make an all-male thing too, just like
Yeah,
why has it got to be pitted against like why has it got to be like the woman needs to be able to do everything on her own? It's like,
but it's like it's kind of sad because
it's Mary Sue syndrome. It's literally making this person so good at everything they're kind of boring.
yes, like Ray Skywalker. Oh wait, sorry, Ray Palpatine. My mistake. Um,
Yeah, she's just overpowered and didn't have to really work at anything like Luke did, and it's like, why? Why are you just giving people abilities to do whatever they want? Why can't they learn? My head hurts. Let's
I
talk
think
about something else.
I think what makes it worse is the fact that we're seeing all these quote unquote empowering women in the West, and then you, me, Alyssa, and Ilaria, we're all watching Attack on Titan together,
Yeah,
and we're seeing the women in that show, and we're like, oh,
yeah,
characters, aren't they cool?
yeah. And the women in Violet Evergarden are all just
Oh
amazing.
my god, fashion is like I'm not even into
And
fashion, and I think the fashion's amazing.
yeah, I really, really want to cosplay as the Violet, but it will cost me lots of money because I'm really bad at sewing. So, but oh my god, be so cool.
I'm just imagining these writers watching Violet Evergarden and just going, yeah, that was all right. Fuck
Yeah.
off. Oh, uh,
You're supposed to like watch other films and read other scripts and take notes when you're screenwriting, right? I feel like they didn't really do that.
yeah. Or at least have a writer's room where people challenge you.
Oh yeah.
Like we send notes to each other all the time. It's like, hey, does this kind of make sense? It's like, yeah. Oh, or maybe change that. It's like, oh, that's kind of stupid. Like,
It's like, oh yeah, that's right. It does seem stupid. I'll change it.
like I remember one time for my Enola Holmes script, I asked you a question, and
Oh yeah, you did.
originally I've asked you a few questions about that. But it's like one time I remember I asked you a question, and originally it was like 10 words, a throwaway point.
Yeah,
But after talking to you, it ended up being like a full on 2 paragraph section. And that wouldn't have happened if I didn't converse with you and ask for your
yeah,
point of view and had you challenge me on that. So
yeah.
I
Same goes for me. Like whenever I send you scripts, like it just I kind of get stuck, and then like when I ask you about it, you kind of help me sort of figure out where I want to go next with it. So it's always good to have someone to give you feedback, and I feel like a lot of people who write, mainstream films don't do that. I feel like they write multiple drafts, sure, but they never really get any feedback.
oh, I don't
Is
know.
what it
I'm starting to
seems
doubt
like.
they even do that much.
Mm,
Because like there are certain aspects of episode 6 in particular where I'm thinking that's the first draft. That is a
yeah,
because Kevin Feige, the overlord of Marvel himself, said after Loki ended, yep, we're sitting down and we're trying to figure out how time travel works in this. Or the multiverse, sorry. We're trying to figure out how the multiverse works in the MCU now. I'm like, oh, you didn't think about that before you made Loki, did you? Interesting. I would
so you
never
just
have
made
guessed.
Loki. Yeah, you just made Loki and just thought it would work, and then you were like, "Oh, we'll fix the multiverse thing afterwards."
It's You'd think that's the first thing they thought about.
Yeah, if you're gonna introduce multiverses, a big thing that's all a lot of the time can be like very hard to write. You just thought you'd thought it out later.
Hmm.
That's like me going, I want to write a horror movie. I don't know what the horror aspect's gonna be, but yeah, I'm just gonna do that at the end.
It's not even that. It's you want to do a horror film, you write it, and then you try to figure out what the horror is going to be.
Yeah, I think that's what I was trying to say, but you just
Oh.
phrased it better.
Okay. Um,
But yeah, it is literally like writing a whole thing and then going, "This is how I'm gonna make it the thing that I want it to be."
and then the director says, "Yeah, but this is a comedy." No, it's a horror. Like, if you say so. Like,
Ugh, so
I,
dumb.
I'm not gonna lie, I was so deflated after finishing the show. Like, more so than like WandaVision was just confusing, but at least it had 3 decent episodes to start me off with.
Yeah. I got
Black Falcon,
emotional watching the end, even though it was like very underwhelming and I was a little bit disappointed with it. I was still kind of emotional because I was like, "Oh no, Vision's gonna go away. I like Vision."
yeah, that was weird. Like, oh yeah, hey, Vision, yeah, back to being Vision. I'll, I'll finish this point and move on to the next one real quick, so because it's
Yeah,
kind of linked. But like, oh yeah, Vision, hey, you remember Wanda? What are you gonna do now? I'm gonna go in the opposite direction, and fake Vision doesn't even tell Wanda that real Vision exists, so she goes in the opposite direction. And like, uh, and do you know what? Now with Vision, with Loki, there's out of the main characters that we've seen, well, out of the major characters in the MCU that we've seen die in Infinity War, everyone's back.
yeah.
No one has died, technically.
Nope. Everyone is okay now.
And then they had the audacity to say, oh yeah, Infinity War and Endgames are gonna have stakes because people are gonna die. I mean, yeah, you're
Literally,
right, but they
yeah,
all came back, so it's fine.
yeah. I mean, people who died like perma died, like Black Widow, Iron Man. He's perma dead still, right?
For now. But with the
Like one of my
multiverse open, who
yeah.
knows?
Oh wait, yeah, the multiverse could easily just bring that back. Different variants of them and whatnot.
And you know what? Never mind the multiverse. They've got the reality machine in Endgame. If they ever want Black Widow, they can go to a different reality, pluck her, and then return her when they can.
Oh god, yeah.
So Endgame broke it, but Loki took the broken parts and ground them to dust.
Oh dear.
Like, it takes a special kind of bad to make the writing in Endgame look bad, and my thoughts on Endgame has soured so much since it's come out.
I only ever watched it the once, so
Good.
yeah. I feel like
uh,
if I go back and watch it, it'll just make me sad. I'm gonna just keep hold on to my nice memories of when I went to see it.
yeah. Like, it's one of the better cinema experiences. But looking
Yeah.
back at the film, I'm like, ooh, that means, ooh,
Oh,
that's, ooh, oh,
yeah.
oh my god, why'd you do that?
Yeah. Time travel shenanigans. It's hard to write them well. But yeah, I do
Like,
remember being in the cinema and the atmosphere was like,
it was
oh, it was
electric.
so cool. It was like, this is awesome.
Absolutely. But now we've gotten to pure absurdity, and people are celebrating it, and that makes me profoundly despondent.
Mm.
Like I
Excuse
was,
me. Ooh, that's what I think about it.
like I was, yeah, I was. Continue what I was saying earlier. Like WandaVision annoyed me because of the lost potential. Black
Yeah.
Falcon, White Winter Soldier actively made me angry by the end of the show because of how venomous their message was.
Yeah, like I hated
Loki,
the end. I hate the end where it's just like, do better. Yay, you fixed racism. Well done.
you can move borders with a phone call. Falcon, sorry, Black Falcon. I don't think you understand how the world works. Fucking idiot.
No.
Oh,
And also, you basically ignored the fact it's a systematic problem by going up to a bunch of, you know, I want to say governors and go, do better. It's like, wonderful, but they still work in a systematic society.
and you know
So
what?
even if they do better, it's not going to necessarily fix the problem.
I love how even okay, the senators
Why?
just went, okay, do you know what, Black Falcon, we'll listen to you. What should we do? And Black Falcon just goes,
Do
I don't
better.
know. but
And
maybe that's a good thing. And I'm like, what?
no,
What? Oh, it's that was terrible on its own.
I mean, maybe if we discussed, I don't know, changing the system or whatnot, and I understand, like,
Like if
it's a
any answer
Marvel
would be better
show.
than that.
Yeah, it's a Marvel show, it ain't that deep, but, like, why are you bringing up this topic if you're not going to address it? If you're gonna bring up a topic that's serious, like a serious social issue, then
Like,
if you're gonna bring it up, you need to at least bring it up properly and address it properly and not use a throwaway line like "do better" because, like, of course we know that things need to be better, but just saying "do better" doesn't really. It's like, yeah, well, duh.
yeah. And it's like, fuck, I had a thought. It's going so much so to the point where it's like, okay, you have. It's what annoys me. These shows has the veneer of doing something or saying something important, where it's like, oh my god, like Black Falcon, White Winter Soldier, it talks so much about race. Like it went places, and I'm like, did it though? Did it? And then you got fuckers on Twitter just going, oh my god, look at the shield, it's covered in blood. Do you get the metaphor? I'm like, yeah, I got it, I got it, I got it. Anyway,
Mm.
how come we haven't seen blood anywhere
Yeah,
else? Like,
yeah. I hated that scene. It was horrible to watch. I was like, I'm uncomfortable. I'm sad. And why did you do that to Captain America's shield, guys?
and oh my god, our god and savior, Carly fucking Ginger Cunt Morgenthau.
Yeah.
Like, John Walker walks up to her and says, you killed my best friend. And she just goes, I don't kill people who don't matter. And I'm like, saying that the black soldier doesn't matter, Carly. You're a
Oh,
horrible human being.
yeah.
And
I
even
know.
even John Walker's like, he didn't matter.
Yeah, that's so horrible. Like, I know Walker was a bit of a dickhead to start with, and yeah, he's not the greatest. But to
I
say that his
disagree. John
friends,
Walker was the best part about the show. Him and Zemo were the best characters. John Walker, I think, earns the shield more than Falcon ever does. This is a different conversation.
no, I mean, I kind of get it because he went a bit like off the rails a bit there, but
I
like
mean,
could have been an
true.
interesting conversation about, he's been into war and he like even says at one point, I know we're not talking about Loki anymore, and I'm sorry,
It's related to the MCU, so it's fine.
but yeah, and like he says like he can't like forget about what he did, and it's like this guy's done some terrible things without wanting to. So
Yeah.
imagine what that's done to his psyche. So I'm like, I kind of feel sorry for him a little bit, but also I'm kind of like he did just straight up murder a guy with Captain America's shield. Like that's not okay. Like I'm not saying this guy is wonderful and you should be like him. I'm just saying I can see what the damage done, and there could have been an interesting conversation about look at the shit that war has done to this person's mind.
So I'm kind of on the opposite boat with that because I'm okay with him killing him because A, he was holding him back. He was another super soldier, so very dangerous individual. He was holding him back while Carly was about to execute him.
That's
Carly
true,
killed
I guess.
Lamar and ended up running like the little bitch she is. So
Mm.
him having just seen his best friend die in front of him, trying to save his life, in that moment, I'm
I
perfectly
get.
alright with him killing him.
I figured he was gonna kill him, but I feel like I was just like, why did it have to be in such a brutal way?
Because
Like,
the
why have
writers
you?
wanted it.
It's
That's the only
stupid.
reason.
It was like just for shock value, and it was just like that's just.
And John Walker throughout the entire show was done so dirty because when he was introduced, in episode 2, is like he's in the college locker room, he's practicing his speech, his wife is like, hey, you're gonna be fine, you're gonna be
Yeah,
cool. His friend comes in, gives him a pep talk, is like, hey man, I'm with you all the way to the end. And he's like, all right man, let's do this. Then he gets the shield, is like, hey look, this is a great responsibility and I've got big boots to fill. And he's really humble. And
yeah.
then goes so far as to find Black Falcon and White Winter Soldier fighting using government owned shit and saves them no powers whatsoever, throws themselves into death's door to save these two people, and they go, well, have you jumped on top of a grenade? And I'm like, wait,
What?
Winter Soldier,
Are you
what are you
basically
doing?
saying that? Yeah, like, are you
You should be
basically
thanking these
saying?
people.
Are you saying the standard for being considered, someone who's a hero, you have to jump on a grenade? What?
And John Walker even goes, yeah, I've jumped on top of four. There's something I do with the helmet, and look, it's a long story, but I have. That's what you want to know. I have. And this guy's got three
Yeah,
Medal of Honors, which no one in history, in literal history, does not have. It's a very
yeah.
posthumous award, you
I
get it after
I
you
I
die most of
love
the time.
I love Critical Drinker's like take on this because he was like, oh yeah, he's so bad. Like he fought for his country. How dare he do that? Such an
Oh my
asshole.
god, yeah. He protects his friend. What a horrible human being. He cares about his wife. What a piece of shit. It's like,
Yeah.
that show treats John Walker as if he's the Antichrist, but the writing is telling me that he's such a good person that's been done dirty by the creators.
They're using visual imagery to make him look bad, especially the shield one, because you can't watch that
Exactly.
scene and go, okay, I feel sorry for this person. You watch that scene and go, that guy's evil. But then
And
when you look
I
at
know
the
it's weird
context, it's
because,
like he's just seen his friend die.
yeah, and the guy's like, I didn't kill him. It's like, you prevented me from saving him, you cunt. Oh, like, that's the thing. And it works. It works on the people. That's the worst part. They see the visual, they hear the music go boom, 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 and they believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Windows. That show is weird because you can have John Walker go, "Hey guys, how's it going?" and the music will be going boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, it's like
But
this guy
then,
bad.
but then Carly will go, "We're gonna burn people alive," and the music's like do 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 do. I was
Yep.
like, "Show, what the fuck are you trying to tell me?"
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Like,
fucked. It's all
yeah.
fucked.
It's one of them. It feels like it's trying to be like, yeah, women can do bad, shitty things, but it's okay because they're women. And I'm just like, no, you're not sending the right message. It's like men do shitty things, they should get called out. Women do shitty things, should also get called out.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. Let's all call each other out. That's kind of cool.
Really, why not? Like,
Oh,
I know
have a
there's like,
standard for each other.
I know there's power imbalances everywhere, and a lot of the times, unfortunately, women end up at the other end of it. But it still doesn't then make it okay to be like, this woman's done a shitty thing. That's okay though. No.
And it's like when Black Falcon brings her down like an angel, it's like, oh, here's Gabriel bringing down the savior. And I'm like,
What?
she burnt people alive and said
And
Lamar's life
yeah,
didn't matter. I'm finding
yeah,
it
like she didn't.
hard to
Yeah, she
believe
didn't
this.
even feel bad about it.
And she was about to set more people on fire, mind you. And John Walker, the fucking Chad, he let go of the shield and tried to hold the car up as it's about to fall with civilians inside, while more of the fucking mutant gremlins come down and try to beat him up while he's trying to save people. Like, I don't care what the fanboys say, John Walker is Captain America. Black Falcon will always just be Black Falcon to me.
That's fair. I mean, he said he didn't want the shield, and then he was getting pissed off that somebody else got the shield, and I was like,
Thank
you're
you.
weird.
And then
You're
that
weird.
that episode after he
I was like,
executed the
why didn't?
guy, they
Also,
were
I was like,
like,
why didn't you just give it to Bucky
he should be
if
the
you
one to
didn't
get it.
want it?
Bucky should have gotten it. But now
Yeah.
that we know John Walker exists, John Walker should get it. But that's the thing. Like that episode when he's having a meltdown, his best friend died, he just killed someone, he's just all over the place. Falcon. Falcon from Winter Soldier, the empathetic human being who's running VAs, should
Does
be the most.
I hadn't even thought about that. Like,
He
he's
should be the one
literally
most empathetic to him at this moment.
he was literally helping like war veterans through their trauma,
Yeah,
wasn't he,
because
when he
he
met
was a
Captain
veteran.
America? So he should definitely be like
He should be most
trying
empathetic
to
right now.
trying to advocate to help this guy.
But instead, he goes up to him and is like, "Give me the shield." And John's just like, So that's what it is about. You gave it up. Fuck you, man. It's
Yeah,
just
like
like,
he didn't ask to be made Captain America, you know?
yeah. And then
Fucking he turned it
Falcon,
down, so they had to give it they decided to give it to someone else.
yeah. Like, Falcon was
And
a
he was
dipshit.
it was like he was surprised this happened. He was like, "Oh, why did they do that? I retired the shield." It's like, "You did. They didn't."
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Like, what made you assume the government was just gonna, lock away and make a fucking museum exhibit of one of the most valuable weapons at their disposal?
Yeah, they're just gonna totally lock it away and leave it there.
Oh,
Look how
Fal-
that turned out with their Vision. They just left him there, yeah, totally.
oh my
Didn't try
god.
and bring him back or anything, no.
Oh my god, that show. Oh, not. It's all just. It's written by kindergartners. That's what it is.
This ties into, like, a lot of the shows have a lot of problems because of the rating and not really considering things, and it's very dumb. And this is what Loki has done as well,
Yeah, and it's like
unfortunately.
a lot of people see the pretty visuals, the characters they loved from years past, and the cool soundtracks, and it's enough. It's
Yeah.
enough, and that sucks.
It
And
sucks because
I'm
it's not gonna encourage them to do anything interesting. They're just gonna go, well, people like it, so let's just keep doing what we're doing, guys.
less than the bare minimum is what is being celebrated right now.
Yeah. So that's why we are here to be like, no, we do not
We're the
accept this.
assholes saying no, we want
Yeah.
quality.
We're the asshole saying, no, we will not lower expectations. We want better from you.
Because we've seen better
We've
from
seen
you.
better. Exactly. It's hard to just be like, I know you're better than this, and then just be like, okay, well, I'll just accept whatever you give me now. It's like, no.
Yeah,
As movie lovers, we deserve better. That's what I'll say.
as general populace we deserve. Like,
Yeah,
it's gotten to the point where,
it's a
like,
product. It should still be enjoyable.
it's gone to the point now where, like, my parents are what I call normies when it comes to watching movies. They're very forgiving. Like, they make me look like the Antichrist when it comes to film criticism, but even they're getting frustrated. And when normies are getting frustrated, it's a
Yeah.
bad sign.
You done goofed.
Like, even my mom was like, fuck Cruella, man. Like, I like 101 Dalmatians less now. Thank you. She was pissed off. I was like, oh my god. Oh. But now, so many people just open their mouths for the corporations to just pour the sludge into them, and they just clap like seals. We've gone through three
Yeah,
episodes of Loki in this conversation.
yeah. Well, we talked about episode 6 as well.
No,
Like,
like, I mean, in terms of runtime.
oh, yeah.
But, yeah, like, those are my biggest issues. Never mind the nitpicks. But,
Oh, I'm on the
and
bit where Loki's singing while drunk.
oh, fuck that. You're not telling me that 2012 Wall Loki is gonna get drunk in an unknown location with an enemy next to him. Fuck off, show.
Doesn't he say another at one point as well?
Yes, like Thor in
I
Thor.
know. I
I
was like,
got that reference.
why can't Loki have like somebody put a meme up saying this is how you know they're related? I'm like, they're not related. They're not related. He's adopted,
Hmm.
to quote Thor.
But you know what? It's a reference for the eagle-eyed Marvel fan. If you get it, you'll go, I remember. It's literally like, I think in the first Avengers, where someone makes a reference and Captain America just goes, I know that reference.
I
That's
understood that
it.
reference. Yeah.
And oh my god, speaking of Avengers, they fucking pilfer so much from that film. Like, Glorious Purpose is a fucking joke now. Like, the amount of times it's like, ah, glorious purpose. They reduced, they milked that phrase so much that now I'm like, there is no
Yeah.
grandeur behind it anymore.
If
It's
someone says
just a
glorious
joke.
purpose, it makes me like actually go
Like in
why?
episode 5, when the other Lokis were there and they were actively saying, "Oh yeah, glorious purpose, ha ha ha."
Yeah,
I'm
what's
like,
your glorious purpose? It's like you're actively making fun of yourself now.
like,
I hate it when things do that though, because it's like, haha, look, see, we made fun of it. We're aware of it. Why have you kept it? Why have you kept it in then? If you're aware of how bad it is and stupid it is that you're making a joke out of it, why is it there?
yeah, and it's
It's
actively
not clever.
reducing history.
It's not clever and it's not funny. It's just you trying to basically cover your bases by being like, haha, we called attention to it in the dialogue, so we know.
They they gaslight so hard in this show, so often as well. Mental. Oh, and like a great example of filmmaking and the
Oh god,
colors.
Loki trying to figure out what love means is hurting my brain.
Oh my god.
You know, the bit where they're like, love is an imaginary dagger. What are you even trying to say?
I'm not gonna lie. The conversation about love from Matrix fucking Revolution or Revelation is
Why?
better. But
It's just like, he's like, damn it, I'm trying to figure it out here. And I'm just like,
time and
instead of
place.
having him, yeah, instead of having him try and talk about it with, why can't we just have him experience it? Why is this here?
Yeah. But it's like also in episode 3, like to go back to the filmmaking and the music, it's all enough to blind. Like, you remember that Warner they had where they enter the city, they have a singular long take all the way till the ship gets blown up at the end? It's like,
What's this in? Sorry.
oh, in episode 3 at the end, when they enter the
Oh.
city for the first time and it's just one continuous take.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, see, in any other show, I'd be like, okay, I admire the effort, but over here, I'm just going, why is Loki using that ability that he has never established has now to do
Yeah.
that when he doesn't do it ever again? That could have been really useful when the time cops were arresting him the first time. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
So, like from a technical perspective, yeah, it's impressive. But again, let's go back to the cake analogy. When the core is rotten, it doesn't matter. The cake is still shit.
Yeah. I don't think you cooked it long enough. The cake is like, you know, when you don't cook a cake long enough and you can literally taste the flour and egg still.
Yeah, it's
Like
mush.
that.
It's either that or it's left out too long, and the icing is
Yeah.
fresh, so the icing tastes nice, but the sponge is like filled with maggots and cockroaches and mold.
Ew. Nobody wants to eat that.
You say that, but
Except,
Loki's
yeah.
got a higher rating than Bly Manor.
Yeah, a lot of people are like, oh, Loki's the best one out of the three. I'm like,
Mm-mm.
I think they're all tied for not great, to be honest.
No, it's like I think the as much as it pains, like Black Falcon, White Winter Soldier made me the angriest, but in terms of writing, it's probably the best of the three. But
Mm.
that's like saying, oh, getting shot by 3 bullets is better than getting shot by 5. Yeah, it's technically better because it's 2 less bullet wounds, but they're still bullet wounds, you know?
Oh my god, they're arguing about which one of them's more hedonistic. Really?
That entire
That
conversation hurts my brain.
I think I just erased episode 3 from my brain because I don't remember it.
Nothing much happened.
No, nothing interesting.
They
Just I
arrived.
remember people losing their shit over Loki being like, "Yeah, I'm bisexual," but he doesn't actually say I'm bisexual. He just goes, "Ah, there's been a few princes and princesses along the way."
And it's like, oh, that
It's
was
a
stunning
blink
and
and you,
brave.
yeah,
Fucking
it's a
hell.
literal again. It's a blink and you'll miss it thing. Like literally, I didn't even notice it until people were like, "Oh my god, he's bisexual." I was like, "Is he?"
I didn't notice the fluid gender thing until
Neither did
people
I.
said it. And it's like, oh, congratulations. It's just there enough that in case you want to release in a country that's illegal, you can erase it with no problem. Isn't that right, Disney? You
Yeah,
fuckers.
I'm just I'm fed up with queer baiting at this point. Stop doing it. You're not being inclusive. You're just being greedy asshole.
It's tokenism.
It's annoying. It actively does my head in.
And it's like when Hollywood casts Kunal Nanjiani for everything because he's brown, and I'm like, fuck off.
Yeah.
Like, if I want to see brown people on screen, I'll go to Bollywood. They have more charisma than Kunal Nanjiani. I don't even like him, and I'm brown.
That's fair. You
Oh,
don't have to like him.
I know. It's like I'm probably. It's mad because like, oh, he's brown. You must find him so relatable. It's like, no, I actually find him
No.
really fucking annoying. Oh, I've never once laughed at his jokes, and apparently he's a comedian. But that's
I'm
it.
trying to remember if I've seen him and it's like seen
Oh,
his stand up.
do you
What's he
remember
in?
he was in The Big Sick? He was in Stuber with
Oh,
Batista.
I still need to watch The Big Sick. I've heard it's really good.
I've heard it's good, but I've seen him in Stuber and I've seen him on that really bad Twilight Zone remake, and I'm like,
Okay.
kind of shit, man.
I haven't seen him in anything, but that's
Yeah, it's
fair.
fair.
That's a fair if you don't like him, like
Yeah,
understandable.
I relate
But
to
yeah,
Ratchet more than anyone else. Ratchet is cool.
the show
I,
Ratchet.
no, 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 like Ratchet
The,
and Clank Ratchet.
oh yeah, Ratchet's awesome.
Like
Also,
I relate to him. Oh,
he's
go on.
voiced by the guy in Final Fantasy X.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Yeah, that's a bit of a weird one for people to be like, oh, because you guys are the same color, you should. That's okay. So does that mean all white people literally relate to each other? Because there are a lot of white people I don't relate to.
yeah.
That's a dumb
Oh,
thing to say. I'm so
and
sorry someone said that to you.
no, like it's something I've seen so much, particularly ever since coming to England, because when I was living in Sri Lanka, there was none of these issues. We just kind of related to whichever character it was. Ever
Yeah,
since I came to
it's
England, it's
like
been
characters.
really prominent that, oh yeah, you gotta see yourself in them physically. And I'm like, no,
No.
I mean, I relate to Pumbaa, I relate
Yeah,
to Ratchet, I relate to Dexter from Jack and Dax. These aren't human characters. What are you trying to say?
yeah. I I relate to a cat, but I'm not
My
a
roommate
cat.
is a cat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that
Oh,
show. Literally, the opening theme is my alarm. That's what I wake up to every morning.
it's so wholesome.
It's wholesome and it makes me feel happy, and that's what I want when I wake up in the morning. But yeah,
uh,
it's just like it is so silly. It's like people can relate. Like there are things that don't exist, and you can relate to them still,
absolutely. Like that's why
like fictional characters.
you've seen the individual shorter videos I've done, It's like I keep saying, look, I don't give a shit about what you look like. I care about the writing, what the characters do, what they say,
Yeah,
how they behave. That's what makes a character. Everything else is surface level. Me being
yeah,
brown is the least impressive and least interesting thing about me.
exactly.
Because look, at the end of the day, I can be brown, but if I was an absolute cunt, I doubt you'll hang out with me.
Definitely not. Like,
Yeah, exactly. It's almost like who you are matters more than what you are.
yeah, it's so dumb.
I think by way of a finishing point, don't you love how Kang was like, I paved the way for you to come here, meaning everything that happened in this show never mattered either.
So it's literally like so Sylvia was just preordained to kill all these people. He just took away more badassery.
Then I I really hated the fact that in episode 5, Loki hid behind female Loki like a little bitch when they were
Yeah,
taking on the fart monster.
Yeah, that was really annoying. I was just, I also love that you call it the fart monster because it's literally just a giant cloud of fart.
Can Hollywood please stop doing that? We had Galactus in Fantastic Four. We had fucking allegedly Parallax in Green Lantern. Can we please stop with the fart monsters, please?
The fact you even have to say that, it just like sums everything up wrong with Marvel right now.
Uh, and you know what? People love it.
And
I
Disney.
will give it this. That did let me have. That is one thing I will give that episode. It made me feel something positive. And that's when Richard E. Grant Loki conjured as
Oh
fucking
yeah,
Asgard. I was like,
I was
oh
like,
my
that's
god.
amazing.
Like, I was so confused because by that point I had been reduced to abject apathy that I was like, oof, emotions. What is this? I'm not familiar with this. What's going on? That one moment was Richard E. Grant's character arc was more interesting than the rest of the show.
Yeah, because he was like, I got lonely, and that's how I ended up pruned. I was
Yeah,
like,
that
I
was
want to
weird.
see more. I want to see more of this Loki. He seems seasoned and interesting.
Yeah, like I would much rather have a full season of him and his shenanigans with Alligator Loki than anything else.
Oh
Like,
my
fuck
god, yeah.
this Loki.
Can we just have a buddy like show of just Alligator Loki and Richard E. Grant Loki, please?
Oh, I would.
I
Not by
would
Marvel,
watch the
though.
heck out of that. Yeah, just somebody else. Oh, we should just make a fan version of it. But
Oh my god.
unfortunately, we won't be able to have Richard E. Grant because
I
we don't
know.
have the
That's the big
budget.
appeal. It's the fact that it is Richard E. Grant that it works so well.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think that's pretty much. I think that was like what the seventh thing that destroyed the universe in this show. But
Yeah.
I think those are my biggest issues with the show.
Yeah, that's fair.
um, like, are there any big issues that you want to talk about? Because if I'm going to be delving
Um,
into nitpicks, we might be on for like 20 hours.
trying to think of big issues.
Because we were pretty in depth with what we talked about in terms of big issues.
Yeah, that's true. Just the I don't know why. I'm still just like annoyed about the whole romance thing. Like it didn't add anything to it. I don't know why it
I
was.
wish they left it on the cutting room floor.
I really wish it didn't happen. And like I'm all for Loki having a love interest by all means, but why did it have to be in this show? Why couldn't it you or just like why not just not have him have a love interest?
And I wasn't
Have
a
him
fan of the fact that Owen Wilson looks up to the ethnic woman and says, I like looking up to you. This is where I should be, down here, looking up at you. It's as it should be. I'm like,
that's a big oof.
oh, okay. And then after he comes back from the end of the world, he's like, I'm gonna beat you. He goes, nah, bro. And he does the wimpiest swing, falls down and loses. And it's like, yeah, you're
Oh
right,
yeah.
I lost. And I'm like,
I was like, Mobius, come on, do something.
like, I knew she was going to win, but even by my low standards, that was pathetic.
Yeah. Oh, I just remember the moment where he was like, "Oh, you like her," and I was like, "No, no,
Oh my god, like
no,
Loki, who's been so adept at lying for thousands of years, can't lie to
can't
essentially
hide
another
about
human
his
being.
crush." Yeah, can't lie about his crush now.
And it's like, also, why does the TVA or the Time Cop Association only use humans?
Yeah,
Like, this should
why not
be
use like powerful beings?
like this should be the equivalent of the Men in Black, but universally.
Yeah,
It's like we should be having like Titans or Asgavarians or like Skrulls, all sorts working together to keep the timeline going. But no, it's all humans. I wonder if it is because they were restricted by the budget. Or maybe they
probably.
just didn't think about it.
That's also probably. I'm gonna go with they didn't think about it because that
Yeah,
just
because
seems
they've
like a
got all
lot.
the money. They've got all the money.
They genuinely didn't think about Kang. They just went, do what you want.
Because Black Widow cost $200 million. I don't know how.
That makes me sad. That's literally, do you know what? It's all a ragdoll physics.
Like, I don't understand how that movie cost so much. It's like Cruella
It's all the
costing north of
fucking
100 million. I
yeah.
don't understand how.
It's
Where
all
is
the
this money
bloody.
going?
It's all the bloody action scenes. I think in Black Widow because there were so many in there, and I'm like, I'm all for an action flick, but like it felt like there was
There
no
was a lot
reason.
of carnage, I will give you that.
It was like playing an Uncharted game.
Uh,
That's
I, th-
literally how I've been describing it to people. Like it's like an Uncharted game. The
I
first half
think
of the movie.
I think it's insulting to Uncharted, to be honest.
Eh.
Because at least
Oh,
Uncharted, you had breaks
yeah,
that was substantial.
that's what I mean. Like in an Uncharted game, that's what you're there for, and it's only like the carnage is only like when he's climbing stuff. And the only reason I say it's like playing Uncharted is because in Uncharted, it's like one thing happens after another, and that's what happened in the movie. But it works in Uncharted because it's a video game and you're the one controlling it. But if you're just watching action happen constantly and there's no context, like there's actual context for why things are happening in Uncharted.
It's like you're a backseat gamer. You're watching someone else play the game.
Yeah, and it's genuinely like frustrating because it's just like there's no reason for this to be happening. I'm confused. And that scene where they just start fighting for no reason, I was like, I feel like that was just an excuse to get them to fight.
Yeah, it's like because she knows where she is, and they know where each other are, and they know to come there, and it's you're expecting each other, and you were not at the same time, so you what the fuck?
Yeah, it's just like what? Why?
But hey, who knows? Maybe the Eternals and Shang-Chi might be okay. I doubt
Maybe.
it, but
Mm, I mean, this
I
has
mean,
already had a significant impact. If maybe they don't change any more things, it might be okay.
I don't know.
I think they might just yeah.
The
I don't
Eternals
know much
already
about the
destroyed the
Eternals.
world because in the trailer itself, it's like we were here all along, and I'm like,
Sorry,
what
I'm
happened?
allergic to it. I'm allergic to Loki. I sneezed.
Oh, okay. I was thinking, oh my god, what happened? No,
I'm
it,
allergic.
okay.
It's a
Bless
bad
you.
writing. Thank you.
But yeah, in the trailer for the Eternals go, we
Oh
were
no.
here all along. We we did not
I'm sorry.
bless you. It's like we
Thank
didn't
Colin.
interfere with mankind, but we gave them haircuts and fire and metal and science, but we did not interfere with them. We've been here all along, but we ignored the battle for New York and Thanos, but we're here now. And I'm like, okay, film, fine,
Sure.
do what you want. So
Mhm.
already in the trailers, that film is broken.
Yeah.
It hasn't even come out and it's broken.
Oh no.
Shang-Chi, I have no interest in it, but it's Marvel, so we'll see how they fuck it up.
Ugh. Yeah, at this point, it's like, how are you going to do it wrong this time?
Like, even when we were watching Black Widow, we were like, it's an interesting, compelling beginning. And it's like, how are they gonna fuck it up though?
Yeah, literally. It was just like, oh, I think we called it because we were like, the intro's the thing we want the movie to be, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh.
I was so disappointed. I was like, oh no, 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 no. I wanted to see the training. I thought we were gonna get like an origin story. And I'm mad. So mad.
We did get an origin story for the next Black Widow.
Yeah, basically.
Like, if you think about it, it was not Natasha's story, Black Widow, it was her sister's story. Because now we've got the next Black Widow in Phase 4.
Yeah, and now she hates Hawkeye, so that she's gonna try and kill him a bunch in the Hawkeye show,
For
right?
some fucking reason.
I was like, are they gonna put that out through the whole show where she finally realizes that? And also, I'm like, hang on a minute, that's broken for two reasons. Surely Nat mentioned Hawkeye at some point because they were
Hmm.
like best mates. So surely Yelena's gonna be like, Hawkeye can't be the reason she died
And
because they
Nat
were
knew
best
his super
friends.
secret family,
Yeah.
and no one else did. So
So
hey,
yeah, it's like they were like super close friends. So of course Nat's gonna be like, oh hey yeah, I have this friend,
if you ever
Hawkeye.
need anything, look out for him. He'll help you. He's a good bro.
Like surely she told her about him. So is Yelena really gonna fall for this whole, oh, he's the reason she died? And it's like, no, he actively tried to die instead of her. She threw herself off the cliff. They literally both were beating the crap out of each other to try and decide who would die.
And also, are you trying to tell me that if they were so close, Nat would have told Clint or Hawkeye about her sister? So are you telling me that Hawkeye didn't come see her sister during the funeral for her? Like, really?
Yeah, like none of that makes sense. So like the fact that she's like, it was kind of setting up, oh, she's gonna be like at odds with Hawkeye now is like,
I don't even think it's gonna be about
okay.
Hawkeye. It's gonna be about Hawkeye's daughter. That's going to be the next Hawkeye.
Oh wait, yeah, yeah, that's what it is, isn't it?
And I'm like, oh, so how's Jeremy Renner gonna be emasculated in this show now? Because that's what I'm looking to now. I'm not even
Yeah,
expecting anything good. I'm just like, okay, how's Clint Barton gonna be assassinated?
yeah, that makes me sad.
The future for the MCU is bleak indeed.
Like, can you stop diminishing already established characters so that other characters can be like propped up? Because that's not okay. Like, I'm not even talking about like, I'm not even bringing gender into that at all. It feels like they're
Just
literally
new
doing,
characters in general.
yeah, they're doing This is a big thing I really don't like about Harry Potter. They diminish Ron's character so Hermione can look better, and it pisses me off because Ron
Yeah, I
is just as
remember.
smart.
I
Literally, in
remember
the
in the
books,
books. Yeah.
Ron is super smart. He's like, it's more like street smart as opposed to
Hmm.
book smart, but he's still really smart and knowledgeable about the wizarding world. And even sometimes he knows stuff that Hermione doesn't. Like in the books, he knows what a mudblood is, and she has no idea because she's like, "Oh, was that an offensive thing that he said to me? I don't know what that
Yeah.
is." And so, like when you watch the film, it's like I'm so annoyed. And the freaking screenwriter even actively said, "I like Hermione more," and I was like, I'm actually really annoyed.
Yeah, because I
And
remember I've only read the first three books, but watching the third one, I was like, oh, Hermione punched Malfoy. I thought it was Ron for some reason. It's like,
yeah,
and yeah, so
Hermione,
much
yeah,
of it
Hermione
was
also
just,
gets the line, "If you want to kill Harry, you'll have to kill us too." And it's like, no, Ron's the one that says that, and also it's even more
yeah.
endearing because Ron's the one that's like got a broken leg and literally can't stand up, and he's still like, "You'll have to kill me if you
He's
want to get to my best bro."
he was essentially Samwise Gamgee in
He
Harry Potter.
was, yeah. Like I love Book Ron. He's so good. But yeah, like I feel like that's what's happening with Marvel now. They're taking really good established characters and diminishing them so they can prop up other characters, and it's making me mad because it's really not okay
Yeah, and
to
at
butcher
this
characters
point,
like that, especially beloved characters. Like I say, I love Ron, and the fact they butchered him makes me sad.
and I think we were talking about it when we were watching Black Widow as well. At this point, whenever they say we've got a new project in the works, I'm like, I don't want it to be a character I like. Please stay away from them. I don't want you to adapt characters I like because you're gonna ruin
Yeah,
them.
yeah. Please stop.
Like after watching, because fucking hell, I think it was they were bringing Zemo back, and I'm not gonna lie, like chills ran up and down my spine, going, "Oh no, don't ruin him."
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like it's starting to feel like the writers don't know how to write strong female characters naturally, so they're literally shitting on the other characters to make the other to make under the guise of this is female empowerment. Whereas it's
Hmm.
not. It's diminishing already established characters that are beloved. It doesn't empower them. It just gives them weird. They're magically good at everything abilities, and it doesn't make them good characters, and it makes me mad because we actively would it would it would be really good to have powerful women characters in things, but it would be good to have them earn it rather than just be given it.
Wait, so are you telling me that you don't like Marie Sue's?
Um,
Mary Sue.
no, I don't like Mary Sue's.
Like, oh my god. It's almost like you're describing that you like characters with growth and flaws because that's
I
interesting.
like I like a good story
It's
arc.
like,
Please
what
give me them.
what blasphemous thoughts are these?
I know
Purge them of thy will.
how dare I want actually well written things. Just
Uh,
how dare I? Like I should just accept the women being better than men trope they're going for. Nah, I'm not having it, and I'm never putting it in any of my movies.
uh,
I will be
neither one of us
writing
are.
strong. Yeah, I'll be writing strong female characters that do actually sometimes get help from men. Thank you very much, and actually use their knowledge to their own advantage. That's gonna be good.
Well, I'm pretty sure just by that alone you put more thought into it than anyone in Marvel has in the past
Yeah,
3 years, so.
I was like, oh no, I'm just screaming into the void now.
uh,
I just want good characters, and I genuinely feel like it's just making people hate female characters, and that's kind of the opposite of what you want to happen.
I mean, from everything that well, from the logical side of things, a lot of the people I follow on like social media and all of that, they're like, fuck these new characters. Can we go back to having like Sarah Connor or Ellen Ripley, please?
Yeah,
They were cool.
yeah. Can we have more Ellen Ripleys and more
So
Sarah Connors?
it's not even like people hate female characters as a result of this. They just hate poorly written characters in general. They just happen to be
Yeah.
female these days, which sucks.
hmm I just mean like you get the bigots that come out and they're
Oh,
like,
yeah, I get what you
see,
mean.
women shouldn't be in films, and I feel like by rating them badly, you
Oh,
are
so
basically
you,
justifying.
you mean the, oh, women should be in the kitchen people.
Yeah.
Okay. Right, yeah, okay.
I legit remember somebody saying to me, "Go make me a sandwich." I was like, "No, go make yourself a sandwich, or go hungry. Have fun."
uh,
Yeah, I feel like it just kind of they just use it to justify the bigotry, and it's not okay.
hmm.
But yeah, then people should be allowed to dislike the character if they're well written. But like I'm just saying, I don't think it's helping in that way
Yeah,
either.
yeah.
Like you get a badly written female character, literally that someone could like just go, "Ha! See, women shouldn't be in films," and it's just like, no, that's a badly written character. There's a difference. If it's a good written character, then they should definitely be in the film.
I'm so glad I watch stuff from the East as well, you know, it's like stuff from
Yeah,
Taiwan, Korea, Japan, anime, and I'm like, oh,
everything.
characters, I missed
Yeah.
you. Like, no joke. After we finished watching Black Widow, I felt like I was on the verge of eternal depression. Like my,
Oh,
imagine I have a HP bar for movie tolerance, and it was at like 1%.
oh
So
God.
the next day,
Yeah.
I watched an episode of Detention. So I'm two
Oh
episodes
yeah.
closer to finishing. And I was like, okay, it's not as good as episode 4 or 5, but it was still very good. And I
Yeah.
felt my enthusiasm for film and my HP bar just go up by about 10%. And I'm like, oh, I feel alive again. It's great.
Yeah.
And then I watched Moriarty the Patriot. And then I saw Mycroft Holmes, like legit Mycroft Holmes on screen. And I was like, ah, oh, I've
Yeah.
missed you. Also, the
Oh,
manga for Moriarty the Patriot is fucking harrowing.
oh, oh, we never even talked about what we watched yet.
Oh yeah, fuck.
I
How
mean,
about
at
we
the
finish
end.
with that?
Yeah, sounds good. Do you want to go first or should I?
I watched Detention and Moriarty the Patriot, one episode each, and that was it.
Oh, awesome. I went to see Space Jam 2 and got
Oh.
sunburned. Do you want to know which one of those was worse?
I put my money on Space Jam 2, to be honest.
It was like a Warner Brothers propaganda movie.
I've heard that.
Literally,
I'm like, oh.
the you could make a drinking game of like any time Warner Brothers is mentioned or shown on screen.
I watched. Do you know Ryan George, the pitch meeting guy?
Oh yeah,
He made the Space Jam video, and I was like, oh my god, that's what the film is. I'm not watching that.
yeah,
Thanks.
yeah. Um, I will give them props. They made themselves the bad guys,
Hmm.
but they still made a film that's basically like, hey, look how many characters we can fit into this movie. Also, I was very confused. Pennywise is in this movie.
I saw clips. I saw stills of that, and I'm like, I don't know how to feel about this.
I was literally sitting there, and Mikey went, "Isn't that Pennywise?" And was like, "One, how do you know who Pennywise is? I haven't talked to you about him." And two, yeah, why is Pennywise here?
And then Mikey just, does the evil laugh and goes, meow.
Oh no, he's really getting into like horror stuff now. I've been reading Goosebumps to him, and he's
Oh,
been
nice.
actively looking for creepy pastas on YouTube now. So I'm like,
Oh, Jesus. I
oh
remember
no,
when creepypastas were popular.
yeah. Like I was going through my YouTube search history, and he'd searched for Jeff the Killer, and I was like, oh no, I think you're a bit
Oh my
young for
god.
that one.
You know what's really fascinating? The SCP universe.
Oh yeah.
That's fascinating.
I also watched. I started watching a show called Sweet Tooth.
Oh, right. My parents really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I haven't had any issues with it, and I thought it was pretty interesting. Like all the characters are pretty well established. Like they all have their own arcs going on, and they all have like different stakes going on in the story, and it's pretty interesting. Like I wasn't expecting it to be that good, but I'm genuinely like enjoying this pretty interesting show.
Nice.
So yeah, I was like, oh my god, a thing that's actually good. I mean, I think it still has some issues, but I
It's
was
better than this.
I was invested in the characters and I wanted them to be okay, like if that makes sense.
What a novel feeling. I remember when that used to happen weekly.
Yeah. Like I think it goes a bit too hard on an allegory because basically the premise is people are dying from this illness called the sick. I know, original name. But yeah, and it's causing an apocalypse, and basically what's happening is these hybrid half animal, half human babies are being born, and they don't know where they're coming from, and basically they're kind of being used as test subjects to try and make a medicine for this sickness. So
Mm,
they get hunted, and basically they're treated like crap, basically just things to be killed. Like people hunt them and stuff like that and keep them as trophies and whatnot, and so there's a lot of kind of racist allegory because people just kind of degrade them and treat them like crap and just see them as you're just here to be killed kind of thing. I feel like it goes a bit too hard with that because people are just generally horrible to these characters for no reason, and I feel like it's a bit overdone. But yeah, it still has good things in it.
that's
I would
good.
recommend it. I liked it.
Eee.
And what else did I watch? Something else. Watched a documentary about a nail bomber. I think it was called Nail Bomber. Yeah. And it's about this guy who set off three different bombs. Like he set one off in Brixton. This is in 1999 in London, and then he set off another one in a different area, and it was all racially motivated, and he was trying to take out the gay community and stuff like that. And this one guy like infiltrated the right, and that was how they caught him, and it was quite interesting
Oh, cool.
because it was like a person who was like supported Nazis and whatnot. So
Ah,
he was very much British National Party type person,
one of
and was
those
just
fellows.
yeah, one of those, yeah. But this guy who was very much left politically, he was like, I wanna like kind of infiltrate and like get as much information as I can to sort of try and take them down from the inside. And I mean, if he hadn't done that, they probably wouldn't have caught the guy, and he probably would have continued like bombing public areas because he just had no regard for anyone's life at this point. He was just like, I just need to get rid of people, and it was just like, oh dear. But yeah, it was interesting because I didn't actually know that part about it. I didn't know like someone had infiltrated and figured out who it was by doing that.
Fascinating.
And yeah, it was very interesting. And I think that's
Um,
all I've watched.
Sweet. Well, as is typical, more than me. But yeah, sweet. Um, who knows what we'll talk about next time round? But yeah. Well, this was Loki. It was not very good. Um, in
No,
fact, I would go so far as to say that it was quite diabolical, and I would say well clear of it. And I do not recommend it whatsoever.
gotta say I like Loki, but this movie isn't. Sorry, this show doesn't give. If you want the Loki that's running around being all mischievous and being clever and a little bit menacing at times, this isn't the Loki for you.
Yeah. I think we've talked it out in terms of the main big world destroying issues. So
Yeah.
yeah, well, that was a decent conversation.
hmm
Um, so yeah.
Lots of tangent, but you know you got to the tangents.
I mean, yeah, and it was all related to what it is that we were talking about.
Yeah,
So
it did tie back in eventually. Just took a
absolutely.
while to get there.
With that out of the way, I think there's nothing else to say besides
Bye
goodbye,
bye.
everyone.
Yeah.
Ta ta,
Thanks.
cheerio.
Toodaloo. Thanks for checking it out. And if you liked this show, that's fine. I'm a bit
The,
confused why, but yeah.
the fact we have to preface that, if you like it, that's fine. The
It's
fact
not a
we have to say
personal
it
attack.
now.
It's not a personal attack on anybody who likes the show. Fair enough. But we
Yeah.
didn't like it.
Nor did we think it was good.
Yeah, unfortunately not. Like emotionally, I had some good times with it, but I don't think it's good, and I wouldn't recommend it to someone else. So I didn't have that much of a good time with it.
Alright, well, thank you for anyone that is still listening to this, and we will see you again next time, whenever that may be. So,
Wahaha.
goodbye.
Bye bye now.